Hello, everyone. What is going on? My name is Timpedia, and welcome back to the TNT Podcast, episode 89. We're finally back,
It's been a while.
and we're ready to take a crack at the news.
Shut the fuck
Get the fuck
up.
out
That's
of here.
Well, speaking of getting, as I get out of here, the two remaining hosts of this podcast.
As always, it's Friedman, also known as Andrew, but mostly known as Friedman. Felt good to say that again.
Oh, just Tyler, also known as Big Titty Anime Expert.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, Freeman, you weren't here for.
I got no other.
So not only did we miss last week, but Friedman was also not here the week before that because we did our WoW Classic Spectacular. Because Friedman has been starting a new job.
Very busy. Very
busy
stressful.
boy. But luckily he found time just as I'm very busy getting ready to go to a wedding in 48 hours. I will be in the state of Florida for a wedding, and we'll have been there for almost 10 hours.
Jeez.
Yeah, we're leaving super fucking early. Anyway.
TNT boys are busy.
But we managed to find just enough time to cover a little bit of news this week, and we're going to mix it up and start with the Overdank.
I think we have all of our usual topics this week, so this is going to be a fun news-only week. But let's get right...
All three of them.
Let's get right into Overdank. So it's all skin news this week. Let's be real here. Overwatch has devolved into just a skin game. And last year for BlizzCon, I'm going to start by giving you the history of this bullshit. So 3 years ago, BlizzCon rolls around and they're like, oh, we're going to put BlizzCon exclusive skins in the ticket. So like you can only get this really blue Bastion skin if you go to BlizzCon. Everyone's like, it's fine. It's just a reskin of his base skin. No one gives a shit. And they did the same thing with Winston. No one gave a shit. And then last year they're like, oh, we're going to release a Sombra skin that looks like, I don't know, one of the classes from Diablo. And it's honestly one of her best skins. And everyone's like, what the fuck? I have to pay $50 for a BlizzCon ticket just to get this skin? Is there any other way? And Blizzard's like, oh, don't worry. And they put on the website that all cosmetics in the ticket will be obtainable in their respective games by the end of 2019. So we're rolling into the end of 2019. You still can't get that Sombra skin. And then today they showed off the new BlizzCon skins, which are these. I don't know the exact character names, but it's basically just World of Warcraft skins for Genji and Symmetra. And everyone's just kind of like, this is really cool. But where the fuck is my Sombra skin I didn't get? So now it's opening up this controversy of, are they going to keep shit BlizzCon ticket exclusive, or are they going to actually do what they said they did?
I bet you it's Christmas open the vault kind of thing. Or holiday open the vaults, because that's what League does a lot. Is League's like, hey, our legacy skins, some of them are available to buy or open in chests during this limited holiday time because we're celebrating the holidays. I feel like Blizzard would
the thing is,
do that.
the anniversary, the Overwatch anniversary holiday that happens at the beginning of the summer. That's the point of that holiday. Is you can get any all the skins are unlockable during that.
Yeah.
But it was like too close to BlizzCon, so they didn't want to do it. So it's like either they're going to do it for Halloween, which is coming up, or they're going to save it for next year, which completely invalidates their original claim. Point is, these skins look cool, but they're not $50 cool, especially given that they're not going to announce anything at BlizzCon this year.
Especially since
I want everyone to
Overwatch
remember
is a
that.
dead
What do you
game.
mean Diablo 4?
Which is not ready to be shown off. Considering they started developing it last year, if they realized people wanted it.
Do you really think that's going to stop? Like,
You
what
got
are they going to
phones,
show?
don't you?
Okay, the only other alternative is a new WoW expansion, but I don't think we're ready for that either.
No, it's too soon. They're going to show off the Hearthstone expansion. They might show off the Overwatch, like, they've been working on a separate Overwatch project. So they've noted that the engine is kind of wonky for trying to do like co-op content. So there's rumors that they're working on a separate game that would cover like the co-op story of Overwatch, and everyone was calling it Overwatch 2, even though it's not a sequel. It's just a different game in the same universe. I'd be willing to bet money they're going to show that off, or to hype it up in some way.
That just sounds like not enough.
Oh, don't worry, it's not. Blizzard's a fucking dead company, and no one wants to admit it.
Oh my god, here we go.
Look, no one who worked at Blizzard like 10 years ago is there anymore. The magic's gone.
But those WoW cinematics, though.
Look,
they're hot.
I just want DreamWorks to buy Blizzard so they can compete with Pixar.
Now,
and make Shrek 5.
Are you?
Oh, God.
Are you still playing this, Freeman?
So the only reason I jumped back into Overwatch was they had this Lego tie-in event. So they've been making Lego Overwatch sets for a while. They released this Bastion skin where you just had to do the classic win 9 games over the course of 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But the skin's really cool, and it changes all your sound effects to sound like just like Lego parts, and it's a really good skin. It got me playing again, which I didn't play since Roll Q. And I'm not gonna lie, the game feels very different now. I can't put my finger on what it is, but it's just like there's too many shields, and every team is trying to be super balanced, even though like quick play players are really bad at their roles.
Oh yeah,
It's
that's why they play quick play though.
it's odd. Like I don't know. Like I'm not having that much fun. Like I was playing with Luigi just because like when you're playing with friends, it's still a lot of fun. But like I don't really like solo queuing anymore.
And speaking of playing with friends, we really need to find a game to play together.
Oh,
Again.
for real though. Listeners, if you have any fun co-op PC games that you recommend,
But
leave them
actually,
in the
though,
comments below. And while you're down there, don't forget to like and subscribe, hit that
dear
bell
Lord.
icon so you hear about the latest
Okay,
episodes as
this
soon as
needs to
possible.
stop now.
By the way, this
Yeah.
episode is sponsored by Squarespace.
Oh Jesus!
Oh,
no.
Jesus
Actually,
Christ.
me and Val watched a video today that Val even pointed out. Hey, we've seen a lot of NordVPN lately.
Yo, but for real though.
No, but I was gonna say, like, actually though, for anyone who watched the SWAT 4 or Rainbow Six Let's Plays and wants more of that, we've been looking for a new co-op game to play that we could all play, the four of us. So
Yeah, that ain't Destiny 2. Sorry, not sorry.
yeah, that'd be nice. But yeah, so anyway, does that cover
That's-
both your skin
That's
things for you?
that's kind of it. Like Overwatch,
I'm
they're gonna
not
show off the
about it.
Halloween festival pretty soon. The skins are gonna be limited. They straight up said like we're cutting the number of skins per event going forward, which
It's
means
almost like we've made so many skins, it's hard to keep
yeah,
doing
it's like
ideas.
there's too many of them already. Anyway, that's it for Overwatch news. There's literally nothing else going on with Overwatch.
All right. Well, in the world of Magic, there is some stuff that happened because we haven't talked about Magic in a hot minute. We are going to do this very quickly though, for Tyler's sanity's sake. But
Yep.
the newest set of Magic has actually started releasing online. Throne of Eldraine, the
Mystical, magical, Arthurian fairy tale set.
yeah, Grim Fairy Tale / Arthurian Legend, although it's much more fairy tale than Arthurian, outside of like 2 cards.
Outside of like just having a bunch of knights and a vaguely
Like,
round
look,
object.
knights, and then Emery and the king, I guess. But yeah, so the set looks really cool. It's weird how like the art and everything is fantastic, and for standard it probably means a lot. And I'm like, man, a couple of these cards are cool in Commander. God, I don't care much about this set that much.
Let's be real here. This is a low power set. As someone who's currently playing standard, I'm having trouble brewing with these cards.
You say that, but Oko kind of seems like the biggest card in standard immediately.
Sort of. So the
He
mythics
seems
are all
way
real good.
too good.
Yeah, he's pushed. He's way too fucking pushed.
Dude, the fact that if the Elks were a minus, he would be fine. That's all
Look,
it would take.
They're losing track of how to balance planeswalkers because they got too happy with like, oh, let's just air quotes down power them to make them uncommon, and they like kind of forgot that like those are still real fucking good. And when they up powered that same mindset to mythic, they forgot this is way too fucking good.
So we're not going to talk about it too much because me and Freeman, while we haven't done a set review in a while, and I don't know when we'll have time again.
I was gonna bring it up. We want to do like a combined Magic video. I have like 3 decks I need to retune. So if we want to do a quick like what from Eldraine is good / deck tune-ups, we could do a video like that.
We also never did the Commander set review, did we?
We could do a multi-set. This would be a 3-hour long video where we do a multi-set
That'd be
review,
great.
3 deck tune-ups.
But regardless, I don't know, like the flavor and and like the art and the alternate frames that they've showed off for Eldraine look fantastic.
Yes.
But my God, is it like all the rares and mythics are the only good cards? There's like nothing that good for anything.
Yeah, I was watching
of standard at low rarities.
I was watching Rudy from Alpha Investments open
Oh,
up just
God.
So what he did is he bought like 50 boxes of the collector's edition and he sold them to his patrons.
Fucking-
So, but like
Oh.
if you buy from him, he makes a video opening your boxes.
We
So it's
didn't
kind of
talk
like this
about that.
interesting.
Ugh.
So yeah, we can talk about it. But point is, watching him open the packs, I'm seeing all the really nice looking commons and uncommons, and it's starting to hit me that they're like borderline unplayable outside of limited for most of these cards, and it's just like it's a real shame. They look real pretty, but I'm literally never going to use this in a deck.
Like, I'm on Mythic Spoiler, and I'm like, oh look, the uncommon 2-drop Knight, that might see a little play because it's like a buff on a creature. That's kind of decent. And then it's like, Okay, rares. These are all playable. Rares. Uncommons. There's a card that goes in the night deck and
That's the set in a nutshell. That's a card that goes in a night deck.
Beanstalk Giant. That's like a rampant growth. That's kind of playable. That Giant Opportunity that goes in the food deck maybe. Oh god. Epic Downfall is cool removal. The Kenrith Transformation, maybe. Oh god, there's nothing playable at all down here.
We
oh
got
god,
way too spoiled for this like entire last year that getting like an air quotes normal standard set is like shocking to us.
You know, so we were talking about it, and I was like, maybe we're being a little too hard on Eldraine. You know, I'm just gonna go on Myth Explorer, and I'm like, these commons and uncommons will never see play.
No, there's like even as a brewer, like last year. Trying to play MTG Arena as a free-to-player for the first month was great because uncommons were where it was at. You build a whole decks around them. It's kind of hard this season.
Like, here's playable commons. Red Scorching Dragonfire removal and red Thrill of Possibility and blue Opt because card draw, and removal.
Yeah,
that's it.
It's going to be tricky for a bit. Honestly, I'm just kind of like hoping that Theros brings some goodies.
I lied, Freeman. There is one very playable common. Golden Egg.
Goddamn.
Because food tokens, because fucking Oko.
Let's let Eldraine settle. I'm convinced something good is going to come out of this that none of us are seeing.
Yeah, the lands.
But it's going to take goddamn. It's going to take a little while for us to realize there's any like actual synergy in this set. If there's anything like broken we're not acknowledging outside of just Oko the card.
I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that's like, I don't know. Yeah, like a lot of it is like people are trying it a lot, and I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Standard kind of settles back a little bit, you know? Like, what's cool? I mean, Rankle, Questing Beast, Oko, Garrick, Great Henge, the fairy, the other fairy that the one fairy that bounces and the fairy that tutors. Nothing else is very good.
All I know is this season is a great, if you're a Timmy, and I don't mean like Timpedia, I mean like you like playing big green creatures and that's your entire like opinion of Magic, this is a great time to play Standard because literally no one's playing counterspells. So go play Magic right now if you like that.
I will say for Modern, there is one card, maybe two, that seem to have made it in Modern. Emery seems to actually be really slotting into these Urza lists.
She's one of the best cards in the set.
Although it's funny enough, I was watching Star City Games' like testing videos for Standard, and they kept trying to do Emery decks. Emery looks like such trash in Standard. Holy shit, does she look bad?
It's weird. There's a lot of artifact support, but there's no artifacts in Standard.
Yes.
It's really weird.
Like, there's food, but that's not a graveyard target.
Yeah, and it's like I can't put 1/1 counters on them with Steel Overseer, so that doesn't work either.
But yeah, Emery looks like, and maybe Once Upon a Time, but people are really split on Once Upon a Time, so it's like maybe only one card from this actually goes anywhere.
I like Once Upon a Time.
But
hey, we'll see.
Did we ever talk about the upcoming roadmap that we got?
We got a roadmap?
You mean the sets are. Did we ever talk about it?
I think it happened during one of our off weeks.
So real quick, one more minor Magic thing. One thing we did get at some point, I apologize if we're repeating ourselves, but we actually got a roadmap of what the 4 main Standard legal sets are coming next year. We found out we're going back to Theros next, which a lot of people kind of suspected because a lot of the stuff in this set is look at how good monocolor is, which many people think we're going to go back to the devotion mechanic of Theros. Then we found out we're going to go to a new plane called Ikiora, which strangely is an anagram of Kiora. So a lot of people are like,
pronounced Ikaria, but we'll never know.
Oh my god. But a lot of people are suspecting maybe that's her home plane. And a lot of people are like, hey, maybe we're going to go to her home plane and find out about like all the sea life shit that she does. And then we're going to have a core set focused on Teferi. Freeman, real quick, I was listening to the MTG Goldfish podcast today, and one of them was like, man, all these mid-range food decks that are really early out of Eldraine because of Oko, I kind of miss when Control could run Teferi as a finisher.
No, I don't miss that at all.
Control doesn't have a finisher anymore, which is hilarious. But and then the last set is the big one. We are going back to Zendikar for the first time in 5 years, which is crazy because apparently it's been 5 years. It'll have been 5 years since Battle for Zendikar, which is one of the worst reviewed sets in the last 10 years.
But also the best-selling set in Magic's history. So
Still the best-selling set because of Expeditions. We all know it.
100% is the only reason.
Freeman, real quick, do you think fetch lands, yes or no?
Absolutely not. Morrow said he does not want them in. They've been hinting at a postmodern, and Morrow said I don't want them in postmodern. But I don't know. Now that Arena's a thing, postmodern might not be a thing.
So I was gonna say a lot of people said we don't want to shuffle anymore, and then they printed Fabled Passage, which is basically just a good fetch land in Eldraine.
We're already shuffling in standard.
Yeah, it seems like standard shuffling is not an issue because it seems like standard is just killing it on Arena, and who cares on Arena?
Plus, green currently has a bunch of effects that are like search for a land. So like, there's a lot of search effects already in standards.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know.
I feel like we need them because apparently more and more are climbing towards $100. Like Scalding Tarn's back over $100.
It's honestly ridiculous. It needs to stop. Like,
but anyway,
I understand the reserve list shit,
yeah.
but like, if you can reprint shit, fucking do it. Like, stop holding on to this reprint equity. It's so annoying.
Speaking of annoying shit that companies like to do to earn extra money from you.
Oh man, I haven't complained about this game series in forever.
This fucking sucks. Although
Spec Ops the line.
Oh,
get the
dude,
fuck out of here.
So when I read that, my brain actually said that that's what it was because I played that game. I remember a long time ago.
Let's tell listeners what we're talking about.
Yeah,
we're talking about the new Modern Warfare title. Sorry, the old new.
Honestly, I don't know or care.
Is this is this the remaster or is this a new title?
I think it's a reimagining.
This is a remaster.
It is straight. I thought it was like a new take on it or something.
It is a new take. I'm calling it a remaster. I don't give a
Either way, keep going.
Like they're doing so anyway. Yeah, like new Call of Duty is coming out. I know a lot of people they know about it. They're kind of amped about it. The beta was just concluded, I think, last week. And what a lot of people know or don't know is that they're getting a lot of, or PS4 is getting a lot of exclusives. Just like the beta. They had access to the beta, I think, for an entire week, compared to PC and Xbox One, where they've only had it for a few days. And it's just been announced that PS4 is getting a ton more exclusives at launch that are timed compared to PC and Xbox. One of them being their Spec Ops Survival mode, which is I guess it was released in Modern Warfare 3, I read, but I don't even remember that from 3. But basically, it's not zombies, but it's just like a wave, like just kind of like, you know, how we kind of do defense in Rainbow Six sorry, not Vegas, Siege.
Mm-hmm.
How you just survive like waves and waves of enemies.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently there's like a specific mode in Spec Ops that won't be available to users for over a year.
So this actually kind of stinks because I've talked on this podcast before about how one of my favorite Call of Duty memories was playing Spec Ops mode with my brother. And honestly, if this came to PC, I would say that we would almost want to consider doing this as our next co-op thing because Spec Ops missions were really tough and really fun to do.
So that's the thing. I think what it comes down to is that like Spec Ops will be there, but I guess there's like some modes, that are not going to be that are only going to be PS4 exclusive, which they haven't disclosed
for a
yet.
year.
Yeah, for an entire year.
Here's the thing about doing it for a year is Call of Duty is a yearly launch game. By the time this is not exclusive, another one's going to be out. Like, it feels ridiculous.
Yeah, and that's what actually we were talking about that at work today, right? Because we were talking about what else were we talking about? Like Ghost Recon also, and then like we ended up segueing into Modern Warfare. Who's gonna get it? Who's not? And it's like, well, and then Aiden's like, well, I'm not gonna get it. Definitely, at least not for PC because of all this exclusive shit. Yeah, like why would you handicap yourself? And the same points were being made. It's like, you buy it for PC or Xbox, and it's like you're completely screwed an entire year out of content. But who knows?
like
The
Xbox
content.
back when Xbox had the exclusivity, and I think early on when PlayStation did too, they had map packs that came out a few months later, but there
Yeah,
was
like
Yeah.
we're
no
talking
game
months
mode. That's what
later,
I'm saying. There
though.
was no game modes that I recall being locked off for any amount of time, and now it's like, oh, fuck you.
I think though, this is my own opinion. I think the maps are worse, in my opinion, compared to like some of the game modes. Like if the game mode is there, but like one aspect of it isn't there, like it's still fucked up. But it's like for the map packs, like you're really not experiencing like on a competitive level,
Mm-hmm.
I guess, compared to everybody else. I guess just because like I don't know, I think of like the competition and like potential money involved,
Mm-hmm.
especially at that time. Like I was like, damn, this is kind of fucked up.
Can I ask you guys a question though? Because I haven't played any of the Call of Duty since Modern Warfare 2.
Sure.
But like, if you don't have this mode, is there still a lot to the game that you'd play, or is this like a big
Yes,
part
so
of the game?
that's the counter argument is that there's still so much you can do in the game. Like there's still the campaign, there's still the rest of Spec Ops, there's multiplayer. So that's the counter argument of we're just cutting off this one mode for everybody. But for people who like I still feel like that's worse because like new maps are cool, but it doesn't fundamentally change how you play the game. It's not a mode that you might have wanted to play with people.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still want to see what the deal is, like what they're really gonna be holding back.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess there's been rumors. Freeman, you've like touched on it just a little bit before, and like in terms of like guns and loot boxes.
So yeah, so there's a rumor flying around that not all of the guns in Modern Warfare are accessible right out of the gate, and you have to randomly unlock them as part of their loot box system. And I think this game is an interesting case study in kind of the industry as a whole. Is everyone's pushing for the next level of monetization? We just got out of these season passes, and everyone's trying to figure out what the next big thing is. And I think this Modern Warfare is honestly they're towing the line between what is and isn't appropriate for a game, and they're
Mm-hmm.
learning real hard that people aren't happy about this monetization model.
Man, I wish it mattered more. I wish people would actually it would actually stop people from buying it, but
Nah, dude, this is the same crowd that buys
Uh,
FIFA every year and then also complains that it's the same game while also buying it every year.
yes.
This is
The answer
the
is
same
yes.
group does this shit with Call of Duty, and it's always going to be this way.
These are the same motherfuckers that go out and buy shark cards on GTA 5.
Oh my god.
And like that's the weird. So like, and it's not gun skins, right? To clarify, it's like
This is the actual guns.
actual
Like
gun.
you
See,
can't use an
that's
M4
fucked
unless
up.
you unlock it in a loot box first.
Like that's super shitty. Like I don't believe in that at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm all for skins and other aesthetics, where that you can put on a character or on your gun that doesn't mean anything. But like if you're putting in guns that can change the aspect of a game with different stats and all this other stuff, then like I just don't believe in that. I feel like that's fucked up. And that's why I stopped playing Payday 2 for that exact reason.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Like it's just not right. Like on a base level, like Tyler doesn't care, but from like a moral standpoint, like I just don't believe in it and I don't think it's right.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. I never planned on buying this remake, and I mean I have a PlayStation 4. But like I thought this was an interesting topic to touch on.
For sure. No,
Um,
I'm pretty disappointed because I never hated Call of Duty. It's more just a question of getting back into it and playing it on PC, honestly, probably. Or even on Xbox. Like, I have my headset. I played with my brother 2 rounds of the Modern Warfare remaster that came out just 2 short years ago. I would be willing to play this, but it does suck because Spec Ops is the mode that I've always wanted to get back and play more of. Because that was so... Like, I still have memories of, like, invading the oil derrick and everything like that, and snow sniping, and so fun. The AC-130
now
mission in co-op,
might
oh
not
my god, that's
be
the best.
that might not be a thing. Actually, I feel like it's gonna discourage a lot of people from getting this.
I would want to research it more, but yeah, if this is the mode where you could play with more than one other person,
Yeah,
that'd be
that's
sad.
it. This is it. And like I said, they're still gonna have it, right? Like Xbox and PC users are still gonna have it, but
Like, who's gonna wait a year for
Once the
this?
game doesn't matter.
yeah.
You know what'll be funny? If they're going to be talking about the next Call of Duty game next year, and everyone's going to be like, oh yeah, we're finally going to have survival mode.
Damn. Well, like I said, apparently they came out and said they're gonna have it, right? Not after like there's gonna be some missions that like are
Whatever.
only gonna be PlayStation exclusive.
I will say, there was at least one time where an Infinity Ward dev got out there and was like, hey man, we're people too. And I'm like, well, yeah, no one should attack. Obviously, you shouldn't be attacking Infinity Ward for this, because this is definitely a fucking Activision decision.
I'm noticing a huge trend. The developers are like, I understand being a developer, it's really easy to get attached to your project, but people are mad at your monetization model, not at the
Yeah,
actual
I
product.
don't
Like,
think anyone. I don't know. Maybe, but then again, we don't see everything. There could easily
Well,
be a lot of
there's two
awful people
things.
messaging them directly, being like, "Hey, fuck you, man."
yeah.
Well, there's two things here. There's one that's like, okay, you can't really blame them for the exclusivity. That's 100% Activision.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now the loot boxes, the guns in loot boxes, yeah, that is a little fucked.
But that's still
Like
Activision
someone
for sure.
on the someone on the dev team had to have come up with it.
No way. I definitely think it's much more likely that EA was like, "Hey, this is how we're gonna monetize." Or not EA, Activision. Haha.
So a long time ago, they were going to put all new heroes to Overwatch were going to be paid, and Jeff Kaplan and his team fought like tooth and nail to be like, no, they have to be free, otherwise this game's gonna be unbalanced and not fun.
Yep.
And they got into a big dispute because Activision wanted them like, we're not gonna let you release content for free.
See.
So I'd really blame Activision for this. I don't think devs are gonna say like we gotta put like playable features in a loot box.
Dude, I think if Infinity Ward had any say in it, they would put out everything on every console at the same time. But it doesn't matter because Activision has their deal with Sony, and they gotta give Sony a lot of shit to keep them happy, to keep paying Activision money.
The thing about exclusivity is it doesn't make your game sell better. It makes your game sell better on a platform, but not sell better as a whole. They may take a huge loss in this just so PlayStation can get what they want. So they got to be getting a sweet deal for this or something.
Yeah.
I mean, Microsoft gave up their exclusivity, and Sony picked it right up.
Yeah.
I honestly still think with how Call of Duty's been, I honestly still think Microsoft made the right call. Like we got what do we got in the Xbox 360 generation? We got a lot of good out of Call of Duty. We don't need to spend a shit ton of money on this exclusivity anymore.
Actually, I would like to use this as a segue to the next topic.
Because we're going to switch from a bad monetization model to a good monetization model.
To a good one.
To an excellent deal.
Where Microsoft straight up, like, I think we briefly talked about it last time.
2 weeks ago, yeah.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago. But
you and
I would like
and me had all just picked it up. Or weren't you guys convincing me to pick it up even?
Yeah, we were trying to convince you to pick it up, at least to give it a shot, right?
Yeah.
So to recap, so when Gears 5 launched 2 weeks ago, Microsoft put out a promotional deal. Really good. I don't know if the deal is still up. If it is, you guys should really get it. Even you, Freeman, just to like try some stuff out, I guess.
Yeah, a lot of people want to talk about different games that are only available through the Game Pass right now, so I'm considering it.
Yeah, like consider
time right now. Like I'd consider like come back to me in 1 month. I will legitimately consider it.
Right. Like yeah, like I said, I don't know how long the deal is though, but
okay, come back to me when the deal's almost over and then
yeah, when the deal's almost over.
What if it's already over?
All right, well, don't come back to me.
If it's over, don't come back to me. But for $2, you can get 2 months of Xbox Game Pass. We can literally play any game, especially like any Xbox exclusive game, in their library, right? And like, damn, it's a pretty good deal. And they're like, yo, you can even play Gears of War 5. This shit just came out, fam.
Yep.
And everybody, like, I'm talking swarmed that. And you know what? I might even, depending on how much like I'm actually playing and stuff like that, which hasn't been a lot, but I'll tell you, if I was in high school and I had this deal, I probably would keep this.
Yeah, for sure.
And they're like, yo, you don't even have to make this like a separate thing. It just like goes in right in with your Xbox Live Gold. So you don't even have to worry about multiple payments and shit. And it's like, wow, that's pretty incredible, Microsoft. This is a good deal. And like, man, this is like one of those, like, this is basically like the equivalent of Amazon Prime, like, hey, we'll give you a month for free. See how you like it. Like a crack dealer giving out the first month for free.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, this is pretty great. And in response, recently, PlayStation's like, hey guys, y'all want to play was it like God of War 4? You want to, for was I because it was $20 a month for their PlayStation Now service, but now it's like $10 a month, which is, I think, cheaper than Xbox's Game Pass's like Ultimate Pass, where you have like access to everything, not some things. Um, and I just thought that was interesting because it was directly after the success of Game Pass's thing this week.
Sony has to have some numbers about how fucking many of those passes Microsoft sold ever since
Oh,
E3.
easy. They had to have.
They must be like, holy shit.
Because I think everybody I know from work got Game Pass.
Yeah. I know.
And
I've
it's like,
told people
why
to get
not
it.
though? It's
Yeah,
like
there's
$2 for
no
2
reason
months.
not to.
And there's gonna be a ton of people who are gonna stick to it too. I just know
yeah.
that. So yeah, I don't know. Like, what do you guys think of this business model though?
I think it's kind of great. uh, I'm much more willing to give. I don't know. I feel like I can trust Microsoft with this service a lot more than I could trust Google with something like Stadia. Even though the
Yeah,
games might be a
I'm
lot
just
more.
saying, like, this is Stadia, but you have your hardware on premise,
Yeah.
Right. Also,
pretty much.
the difference between Game Pass and now slash Stadia. So Stadia and PlayStation Now use streaming, right? As
Like I
whereas
said,
Game
hardware on
Pass,
prem. If your
yeah,
connection's
Yeah.
bad, this is the service to do, because once you download, you're done. You can play.
Like, this just feels
Yeah.
so much better when it's like, yes, I would love to download my game and then just have it on my computer. It's like it's like Netflix, but you're not streaming. But for a game, you don't want to stream it because, hey, then you have actual like input lag and shit. Like
exactly.
this all goes back to like Stadia and everything, but something feels so much easier about I will pay for your service, I will download a game, I will uninstall the game when I don't want it anymore or when I finish it. It's not like I have to rely on you anymore. It's I just get the one download shot and we're basically done until I choose to stop playing or I stop paying for my subscription.
It's pretty sweet.
It's Freeman, did you check? I know I heard some clicking. Have you checked if the
Sorry,
deal is
I'm
still
preparing
going?
a really shitty joke for the end of the Weeb shit. So no, I'm not doing
shit.
additional research.
Let's check Game Pass, Xbox Game Pass, assuming it doesn't auto log me in and be like, "You're already on Game Pass. Why do you need to check if it's still a good deal?" Uh-oh.
Is it over?
Oh, Friedman.
Whatever, I'll catch it next time.
Or you could just pay
You know
for
they're
it
gonna be doing
anyway.
some holiday
I
shit.
honestly don't know if I'm gonna like cancel it once it hits the end. If it's Ultimate is $15 a month, yeah. So the deal's gone.
Deal's gone.
Oh wait, but the PC only version is only $5 a month at the introductory price, and you can join it for $1.
Just to clarify, when you say introductory price, how long does that last for?
I don't know. I'm not clicking on it.
Probably.
All right, I'll do some research. If it's only $5 a month, that's easy peasy
So,
lemon squeezy. I'll do that.
Let me see what the
Even for
difference
$5,
is.
that's like
Access.
pretty good.
So the only thing that you don't get if you can do Game Pass console, Game Pass PC, or Game Pass Ultimate. Ultimate also includes Xbox Live Gold and Spotify Premium.
Wait, what?
Apparently, Spotify Premium for 6 months is included with Xbox Live.
Wait,
Game Pass
but
Ultimate.
Hulu comes with Spotify Premium. Is this just a chain of services that give you more services?
Fuck?
You probably don't get Hulu with this. But
So you know what's funny? This actually might get me to try Spotify because I've been using Pandora for a long time, but I know everyone's been like, "Dude, just go to Spotify. Spotify is way better." Including Val's, both of her sisters are like, use Spotify. It uses way less data and it's better. And I've been paying for Pandora for years. This might actually get me to finally try Spotify because I have premium already. And Xbox Live Gold, which I don't really use, but if I wanted to boot up my console, I wouldn't have to worry about it. So yeah, honestly, PC is even a good deal. It has all the games and everything else. It still has discounts and stuff if you're on PC. So yeah, even if you don't want to get Ultimate, if you missed the deal on Ultimate, I could easily see myself dropping down to just doing PC for only $5 a month. That's as much as I spend on Pandora that I use like once a month maybe. That's not a bad deal. I don't actually hate that at all.
Welcome to the new world of subscription services.
It's less than Netflix.
Yeah.
But yeah, so honestly, Game Pass is pretty fucking great. I will talk about the one game I have played on it at the end. But do we have anything else to talk about this, or are we gonna go to another big console, boy?
I think we're done singing praises of one.
another
It's time to start throwing around criticism. Oh, you have another one?
Oh no, just
I'll
for
move
you
on
guys.
to another one.
Oh, I should put on my thing. Hold on. That
What?
is in
Yeah,
Windows.
it's good in this
Well,
title.
either way,
So,
you can start it up, Freeman. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nintendo, what are you doing this week? So, the Nintendo Switch Lite came out a couple weeks ago. It got pretty positive reviews for what it is. I remember a bunch of big news pages were calling it the ultimate handheld console, which is bullshit because the 3DS is the ultimate handheld console. But the big concern when the Switch Lite got announced was that we currently have the problem that Joy-Con
Drifting.
the joysticks don't stay straight. They will start drifting over time. And the short-term solution is get other Joy-Cons for your Switch. Nintendo has only recently started officially acknowledging the issue and offering replacements, while a class action lawsuit has been mounting. In the last couple weeks, heavy users of the Switch Lite have noticed that despite what Nintendo said, these joysticks are drifting as well. So the Switch Lite is now joining this class action lawsuit against Nintendo for they need to either fix the product or offer permanent free replacements for life. And that's the stipulations they're going for. This does not look good for Nintendo.
Nope.
Honestly, like the second I touched my Switch for the first time, I was like, "Ooh, these joysticks don't feel very sturdy." So
No, they're not. They're pretty flimsy.
I know that's why I got the Pro controller. Because I'm like, I'm not going to ruin these while I'm sitting at home. So at least that'll preserve them a little while longer. But Switch Lite, potential Switch Lite users, you've been warned.
I did not know that Enter the Gungeon is on Game Pass. Maybe I'll finally play that game because
oh really? I already have it on Steam. Regardless, it sounds like Game Pass is pretty good value.
Sorry, I'm not trying to bring it back. I'm just looking because I don't have.
It's fine. I like the optimism before I start just shitting on Nintendo again. So Nintendo, we gotta talk. You gotta go to Game Freak and just smack them across the face. So it's no surprise that Pokemon looks kind of because their primary team wanted to do something else. And they talked about this game called like Town for a while, and it's been rebranded Little Town Heroes. And 2 weeks ago, they showed off the launch trailer for it because surprise, surprise, it's coming out in 16 days from the recording of this podcast, October 17th. And they finally showed off what the real gameplay is going to look like. And for the love of God, they didn't learn anything about what people didn't like about Pokemon. This is a turn-based RPG that has extended battle animations for every attack you select. This is the shit that people complained about for Pokemon. That's why you had to put in the turn off battle animations option. And that's like the only thing it has going for us. This looks nicer than a Pokemon game in battle. But they didn't try to like sell the key feature that you are. This isn't like a I'm going to go out and fight people game. This is a I'm building a town, and if I have to defend it, I will. So they're like ignoring the town building gameplay side of it. They've been hyping up to show off the combat RPG side that doesn't look impressive in 2019. Game Freak, why would you do this to me? Why would you forsake Pokemon for an experiment in like what you didn't learn about Pokemon?
It's they just don't care.
But in the meantime, I can't criticize Game Freak too much because they heard what everyone complained about in Sun and Moon, and they said, "Where are my Pokemon gyms? We want them back." So they hyped up, "We're bringing back gyms." Except now news is coming out that there are 18 gyms in the new game. Some are considered minor league gyms, and some are considered major league gyms. And apparently they rotate. I don't know if that's a gameplay mechanic or just story lore of why there's 18 of them. But that's apparently a thing that's been leaked today.
Sick.
I mean,
it sounds cool. I like gym challenges. I mean, it would line up with the number of types there are in the game, but...
Oh my god, this is so sick.
Also, like I said, we got like 16 gems though, in gold and silver.
Yeah, but like post game is different. Like if they just threw on 8 more gems, I don't know if you like it, but it was 8 gems that meant something to you.
Fair. That is fair.
Yeah. I mean,
It's
I'm
probably
not
gonna
I'm
be
not
excessive.
criticizing it. I'm just hoping that it's like well executed and not just repetitive.
Nah, it's probably gonna be excessive. I'm not trying to be a pessimist here, but like everything that they have been showing so far just kind of doesn't really bode well against their game design philosophies. Like they don't have like any cohesive ideas or integrity to what they're saying. Like I don't know. I just kind
The
of gave up
the
on it.
icing on the cake is some dude leaked like 50 tidbits of information about Sword and Shield like 3 months ago, and ever since then, every single reveal has had something on his leak.
Damn.
Nothing he's given has been wrong, and there's some weird ass shit later on in the leak. So
Sorry,
everyone's like,
you
I
mean
don't know.
proven wrong, right?
Sorry, what did I say?
Well, no,
None of it's been
no,
proved.
no, no. You were right, but you said nothing he's said has been wrong, but that doesn't count what hasn't come up yet. But
Yeah,
I
so
think you
he
mean
has.
like nothing he's said has been proven wrong as of
Yeah,
yet.
like there's nothing been contradictory to what he said so far. There's been things where it's like this hasn't been announced yet, but like it wasn't like they announced something that was very different from what he said. Like he announced like Farfetch gets another form and with a shield on his left arm, and everyone's like that's interesting because they showed him off as a Pokemon Sword exclusive because his whole leak is a sort of point is he's pretty accurate for what's going on now, and it's kind of creepy. So I'm genuinely curious if he just leaked the whole fucking game because that would be hilarious. I don't know where he got this info from, but that's it for Pokemon. I'm not going to ramble about him anymore. I get too angry. In the meantime, Nintendo's continuing this pattern where they don't want to talk about games until they're close to being done, but then like Brain Age is a game that requires very little development time, so they just announced it and it's coming out in like a month or something. So for anyone who
Incredible.
liked playing Brain Age on DS, there's another one coming to Switch, and now they're selling new styluses so you can hold your Switch sideways and play it like it's a DS sideways. For anyone who enjoys that series, congratulations. For the rest of us, we're all completely blindsided by this release.
So I never played Brain Age.
I
I
actually
didn't
did.
because oh, you
Did a
did. What'd you
little
think of
bit.
it?
My sister had it. It was a fun little thing. I don't think I played a ton of it, but I definitely remember my sister had it on her DS, and it was a fun little thing with a lot of little cool mini games. It's a neat little thing to bring back.
Interesting. I didn't buy it at the time just because I didn't have money for it and it didn't really captivate me. But it always seemed like that thing I wanted to know about but never did.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not going to get it for Switch. I just have no time for games right now. And I'm pissed because I had no time for another game that came out in the last couple weeks for Switch. Tyler, do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, Legend of Zelda.
Tyler, it's the
Link's
greatest.
Awakening.
It's a big Zelda back.
It wasn't Big Zelda. This is
No, I
more
know.
like
I know. The Game
Zelda
Boy
Light.
game.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
it's Kid Zelda in
But
this
dude,
game as
so
opposed to
much
Adult
stuff
Zelda and
got
all the other
added to
ones.
this. This is crazy.
Yeah, not $60 worth of shit. Sorry.
Yeah, I know. A lot of people have been throwing out
I
that $40 number.
yeah, dude. Like, all right. So actually, I've played this. I'm playing Link's Awakening.
Mm-hmm.
I got it. I snap bought it. But like, I'm like, man, something doesn't feel right. But I'm gonna buy it anyway. And I'm playing it, and it really feels like it was meant for the 3DS.
Really? I heard there's a lot of frame rate issues with
Yes,
it.
Oh,
I
a
definitely
bunch.
heard that.
I like the first thing I noticed was that like at least this happens for me a lot. Going when I leave a building, like if I go into like another room or whatever, or like a house, or like when the camera changes, it the it drops significantly.
Yikes.
Yeah, like enough for me to like, oh, it's definitely chugging. Or if a lot of things are going on screen, it just doesn't like it.
God damn. That's
Like
unfortunate.
this game was poorly optimized,
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
and it's a shame. It
That
really is a
sucks because it
shame.
was a Game Boy game that they like did all this improvement to.
Yeah, like it looks nice, but like the controls are like tight or whatever. But like the game. But yeah, sorry, I'm like jumping all over my words here. How I compare it is like okay, especially when it comes to the price. You take a look at this game, you play this game, and you're like, man, this game is short. And I get it's a Game Boy game, but like, fuck, you're making me pay $60 for this. And then you put in Breath of the Wild, and you're like, holy shit, like the experience is miles apart.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I expect, Link's Awakening to be like a 3DS game or something. Or something marked down. Like I'm not getting the same kind of experience that I would from many other of these AAA titles that um, Nintendo puts out. If that makes any sense.
No, it totally does.
Yeah, so I'm playing it. I'm just really not digging it, I think but like a lot of that side stuff that I just said kind of like taints it a little bit. Like it's a fun game, right? Like it's definitely like a Zelda game or like a Zelda Light, but I'm not happy that I spent $60 on this.
Did you buy it digital or physical?
I bought it digital.
Yeah, I
Oh,
remember.
okay.
I thought I remember you saying like you were loading up the night of or something.
Yeah, I bought it digital against my normal judgment of buying physical copies.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Uh,
if you had a physical, I'd buy it off of you.
man, I would let you borrow it. Like unless you really wanted it, I would like give it to you or whatever. But like, yeah, I don't know. It's fucking. I got nothing.
I
I
feel
got
you.
nothing. It feels super meh. It feels like, and like I don't know, my feelings of it is just like overclouded by like, man, I paid $60 for this game,
Damn, dude, that sucks.
and the thing is, the price is never gonna go down on it. And if it does, it'll be like probably by like five
Nintendo.
God, I'm
bucks.
forced to go back to a GameStop to try and buy this shit used.
Yeah,
I don't want to go back to that stage of my life.
I don't like
Nintendo
going to that stage
you.
of my life either, but I want to do it for Pokemon out of pure spite. Pure spite. Like, and that's the thing. I don't think this game truly deserves like, I don't know. I guess some of the flack that I'm giving it, but like, damn. Like this game is a simple game. It was originally on the Game Boy Color, and the Switch
Damn.
has been out for years now. How come you can't optimize this game, especially if you're gonna make us pay full price for it? But your other streamlined titles are like, yeah, I get lag in Breath of the Wild sometimes, but only like in the beginning of its lifespan. It's gotten significantly better. So it's like I just want to know what's going on.
Yeah.
But that's all I gotta say about that.
All right,
Before we
let's
move
get
on
out
to
of
this next
Nintendo
thing,
land.
really quick. So, I was going through while that was happening the full library of things available on Game Pass. Because if you go to the Microsoft Store built into Windows, and you look at what Game Pass has available in the store, like in the store app, it looks like there's like 10 games and like 3 of them are worth playing. If you go to the website, you can actually find a full list of games that are available for Game Pass on PC, and these are the ones that there are now 7 games that I'm considering downloading because of Game Pass that I did not know were on the service, including Superhot, Dead Cells, Gungeon, Bloodstained, Prey, Ori, Wolfenstein 2, and Hollow Knight are all on Game Pass.
Back the fuck up. They have Worms WMD on here.
Okay, that's...
Jesus.
No, but seriously, like, I was looking through the list, and apparently you can play a beta of Outer Wilds right now. Or soon. I don't know. But either way. Or Outer Worlds, not Outer Wilds, fuck.
I was wondering if that was the game you were referring to.
No, Outer Worlds, the one that I'm really excited for. But yeah, I had no idea. Shadow Warrior 2 is also on PC. I've played it, though. But, like, there's a lot more shit than I thought. Killer Instinct is on there. Like, there's a lot of stuff.
Oh, Shenmue 1 and 2 are on here.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff on here. Kingdom Come Deliverance, if I ever decide to play that game finally. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but like I kind of want to download like all of those games I made because they're all games that I was kind of like, maybe I'll play them, but I don't really want to spend the money on them.
Yeah,
But,
exactly. And it's like you can just
Like Wolfenstein
through 'em.
2, I would love to play that because I really enjoyed the first new Wolfenstein, but I was never going to be like, let's buy it. But if I can get it for free on Game Pass and just download it and play it and never keep it again, this is like what I want from Steam. Like, I would love if I could just buy the game or rent the game and be done. This is exactly what I want. That reminds me.
That reminds you.
So just to keep derailing
Sorry.
us, it's I'm looking at the pricing models. It looks like if you sign up now, it's $5 a month, but the actual genuine PC only price is $10 a month.
Still pretty good.
Yeah, that's a
Still
pretty
not
sweet
bad.
deal. I'd consider it.
Like, I'm kind of
For
fine
the price of
with...
for the price of a bad Zelda game, I can get 6 months of this.
Damn.
Yes, actually. Like, there's a lot of shit on here. But yeah, anyway, sorry, not to derail. We can keep going. Oh, God. Do we even want to talk about this?
I kind of do.
Tim, we live in a society.
We live
Shut
in
the
a
fuck
society.
up. Oh, my God, no.
I mean, like, I don't know. I wanted to talk about this.
What are we talking about?
We're talking about the Joker movie coming out.
There were news reports of additional police training to deal with the fact that this movie would cause an increase in angry males who want to shoot up society.
Fucking incels. They actually labeled them incels. That is wild. So for context, to emphasize on what Freeman was saying, the Joker movie's coming out, and
Is it out this
everybody's
Friday?
upset. Yeah, it's coming out Friday.
I really want to see
And
this.
parents and other people are upset that this movie, even though they haven't seen this movie, that it will inspire violence amongst our younger males, particularly incels. And if you don't know what incel means, just look it up on Urban
Don't
Dictionary.
dive that deep into the internet.
Yeah, please don't go down
Save
that rabbit
yourself.
hole. It's not a good place.
Don't go down the rabbit hole. But by us saying this, you're probably gonna do it anyway.
No, anyone
because
listening
you're
to
all
this
sheep.
knows already.
The listeners probably know, but
Anyone
in case
who's
they
deep
don't,
enough in the internet to find Timpedia is deep enough to know.
true. You're not wrong. But that's the thing. That's the thing, though, right? It's like, so they talk about this thing, right? And the media is spreading this fear. I'm not trying to be like a conspiracy theorist here, but like, they come out, they say all this. Now everybody's freaking out. They don't want to see the movie because they're scared that like these incels are gonna come in and shoot up all the screenings. All because the theme of the Joker. It's kind of taking the Killing Joke route. If anyone's familiar with that, I know some listeners are comic book savvy. Just basically, the character Joker, he's this down on his luck guy who's like, not getting anywhere in life, and like he's just fed up. He's fed up with this world, and he decides to do some bad shit. It's really gonna be like one of those like cautionary tales, and I've been very interested in seeing this movie. At least seeing how it goes. But yeah, and like parents, especially notably the ones the parents of like the kids who went and saw that Dark Knight Rises movie back in 2012.
Mm-hmm.
During that tragic shooting, they've taken and tried to stand against this movie a little bit, and Warner Brothers um basically saying like, hey, you shouldn't give your money to like the gun lobby and stuff like that. Like, I don't know, it's just turned into this big mess. It's a movie. Like, come on. It kind of goes hand in hand with the whole like video games cause violence debate that's been going on for forever. So I figured it'd be something that we could briefly touch on.
Look, man, this is what happens when you live in a society.
Fuck
You
you.
gotta deal with this bullshit.
Fuck you.
I'm just gonna keep making this joke until I'm done with it.
Until you're done with it, just
Until I
like
deliver
the
that
Michael
bottom
Jackson
text and we
memes. Goddamn.
God, so many Michael Jacksons. Oh my
I'm
God.
not gonna stop. I have like
Doesn't
50 more that I'm waiting to
stop.
trickle into the group chat.
Don't stop till you get enough. Come on. All right, I'm done. I'm done with that. But I don't know if you guys. I want to know if what the listeners think about this. Do you think it's kind of nuts? All this publicity around this movie. I don't think people were actually probably gonna do anything until the like people actually started talking about it.
I think it's just kind of like fear mongering about it. Like, I don't think anyone's actually going to do something at this movie. Like, I don't know if it's like. Keep in mind, no one has seen this movie yet, so I don't know
No one
who's going
has
to be
seen this movie.
inspired by a movie they haven't seen to do this. Like this is my hot take. Like, it didn't have to do with Dark Knight Rises at the Aurora shooting. It was just a crowded theater of people, and that was why it happened. I really don't think it was Batman and Joker related.
No, well, a lot of people were like, "Oh, he painted his hair orange. That means the Joker." It's like, homie, the
Like,
Joker
bro,
wasn't even in
Did
that
you watch the
movie.
movie?
Right? It's like you didn't even see the movie. Oh, well, he was in the last one. It's like, oh please, now you're actually grasping at
Regardless,
straws.
I'm pretty sure this is just fear mongering.
It is. This is fear mongering, and this is how you just get press for media. And oh man, it's bad. I like without going into political territory. It's just fucking. We live in a society.
Yo, Tim, you got to make that the episode title.
We live in a
God.
society.
I don't
I'm just
want
tired,
to. We
man. I'm
can't-
tired. I'm tired of the villainy. I'm tired that like we can't make jokes anymore, or like I can't go see a movie without people like criticizing me, maybe for like
What, for
you know
going to see the movie?
if we're gonna go see movies or like being into certain hobbies. You guys know what my hobbies are.
Yes,
Without
I'm gonna bring it up at some point in the Weeb shit.
Yeah, like it's just fucking stupid. I understand like the fear and all that stuff, but like shit, man.
Mm.
People have to realize that you know, like the separation between there is a separation and that like if you give people this fear, then like yeah, they're gonna do it. If you give the bullies ammo, they're gonna use it.
I mean, my hot take on this is people are afraid of this movie because they're concerned someone who's mentally unstable is going to kill them. And my response to that is, are you afraid of the movie? Or are you afraid of people who are mentally unstable?
Right.
Like, we're making it about this movie when it's not.
It's not about the movie. Maybe I'm fucking nuts here, but maybe we should actually focus on the issue at hand instead of
Sounds like some liberal bullshit,
sounds
Tyler.
like some liberal bullshit. It almost sounds like we should work on some healthcare.
It sounds like we should fix our society. Bottom text. Let's get out of this topic. I can't keep making this stupid
Yeah,
joke.
let's talk about this is some real game changing shit. Like
So-
no
leave it to
meme
the EU.
aside.
I threw this on here as the final gasp to go to Europe before we go back the other way from the U.S. But apparently, an EU court or something, or France. I don't remember exactly what it is. I don't have a link or anything. But apparently, in the EU, someone ruled that some high court ruled that Valve needs to start letting users on Steam resell their games, and God, that would be the greatest thing ever if Valve was forced to let me resell all the shitty games I don't care about.
I mean, I think this is going to redefine what digital ownership is.
If it
It
holds up, which I hope it does,
Yeah,
because my God, could you imagine? Like this kind of thing would make Game Pass even more appealing.
Oh yeah.
Like, why would I ever bother owning spending the money on anything if I can resell it? Well, then companies.
Hold on. I got a counterpoint here because we've brought up
Hold
this
up.
exact scenario before. Like, we bitch and moan about stuff leaving Netflix. Like, it's the same. It's the stream versus own idea.
I don't disagree, but I
is.
feel like at the same time, like Netflix is so much. I don't know. For me, it feels like Netflix is something you can have on your phone or anything like that, and just watch it, and you want it at your fingertips right now. Something like Game Pass, it feels like it doesn't need to be at my fingertips. I just want to be able to access the game and play it once. There's so few games in my life that I go back and play again, but there's so many shows I'd be fine going back and watching it, or movies that I'd like to go back and watch again. It feels like games, especially games that would be on a service like this and not shitty fucking mobile games, would be something that I'm like, I'm fine taking advantage of this while this is here and not again, or buying it if I really do love it.
I don't know, man. Like the Halo games, Gears around here, these aren't the kind of games that you play only once. Like these are the kind of games that you can go back to.
No, but then you
I feel
buy
like
it.
I feel like this is the exact opposite of our Stadia argument that we do want access stuff even if a service would shut down. But anyway, I don't want to
But
throw us down through a loop here, but I'm just saying that like I agree with you that if this holds up in court, it does make Game Pass seem more appealing. But at the same time, in the back of my head, I'm still thinking of the own versus right to stream argument.
which is I like owning games, but this, like, I'm trying to think. So, like, in this court ruling, right? If they have to, if people are allowed to trade games, how would that, or sell games, how would that work? So, like, they'd be
So
just selling them back to Steam?
no. So the idea is Steam isn't selling you a game; they're selling you the right to access a game on your account, and they're saying that right should be sellable. So you can sell the right to access that game to
so
someone
why
else.
would anyone ever buy a game full price again as long as they live?
Pretty much.
How does
That's what happened
anyone?
with
Okay,
that's
if
what
I
happened with
sell,
loot boxes in Counter Strike Go. The second people got them abundantly, no one bought them from Steam. You just bought them from other sellers online.
so what happens when I buy a game for $60 on Steam, and then I sell it to you, Friedman? Does Steam then determine a resale price and they take cuts out of that?
It's a
Or,
question of legality. Like if they let them do the marketplace approach where they take a cut, then yeah.
but then does that cut
Otherwise,
also go back to the seller of the game? Or is Valve just
I
or is it like GameStop where Valve pockets all of that money and then they get fucking shafted by used games because GameStop lets you buy it back and sell it for $2 less than GameStop makes all the money.
I'm
And
not sure if the developer gets a cut of Steam Marketplace sales. I'm genuinely curious. But the real thing I'm concerned about is like if this holds up, this kills like sales of digital content in Europe as a business model. Like it has larger repercussions than just Steam content,
oh yeah, of course.
which is why
Everyone then
I
has to
don't
deal
think
with
it's going to go through. But it's
Well, I think
interesting.
honestly then everyone just goes to subscription services.
And this is
Why
going to
would you
be
ever
rippling.
sell what? Yeah, sorry.
I would say, like, the patent offices and or wherever, like, laws over here, they're going to be watching what they're doing over there. And it's going to have rippling effects, I'm sure, for everyone.
Or Steam just breaks off a feature and then everyone goes crazy about it. Like, isn't that how Overwatch works? And like in China, Overwatch tells people what the odds of getting things in crates are, but they don't do that anywhere else.
Yeah, just because Chinese law says you have to disclose it.
But that's what I mean. That's just a more minor level, but that's still something different that they do between regions.
The thing is, I feel like it changes the business model so much. I don't know if Steam would be able to exist like this.
Well, that's the question. What does Steam look like if this? I don't know. We need to just see how this goes. Honestly, there's so much that we need to see of what actually comes from this.
Yeah, it's too soon to say.
Yeah.
I really don't think it's going to hold up in court.
Valve's gonna fight the shit out of this. You know that. Valve
Pretty
sure
much,
as
yeah.
fuck doesn't want this to happen.
I mean, this kind of how do I put this? I mean, this would also affect the Epic Game Store.
It would affect all of these stores.
If it's bad for them, they're going to throw
How
around
does it
their
work
money
with
because they've
something
got
like
all this money to throw around.
How does it work with Origin or the Microsoft Store where they are selling a game themselves, but like if they're EA runs Origin, but they all or hell, let's go back. The Microsoft Store, Microsoft publishes Gears 5. Games on games that are for sale on there though, they are not the publisher of. Some of these games they are not publishing, like Bloodstained or Metro Exodus. They are not the publisher. They just have it on their service. Do they only let you resell games that they do not publish, that they are not directly selling to you?
I mean, you may end up with the issue that there's a contract between the game developers and Steam with how they can sell the games. If it suddenly boils down to Steam has to let them sell to other users, but that's not part of the contract, there may be a scenario where Steam has to take off half of its library for sale at all because they have to support resale on every game, and that would fuck over the game market because there's already established deals based on the idea that there is no resale.
Yeah.
So this is
It's gonna be
It goes a
big.
lot deeper.
We'll see what
yeah.
happens in like a year when things finally shake out from this, because that's what always
For real.
happens.
It was I just wanted to say,
No, go ahead.
your boy, um, Ross did a video on this.
Oh yeah, I didn't actually watch the whole thing because I was like driving or something, and I couldn't. It was a little dull to listen to. But
Yeah,
I know he did a full Dead Games video on it.
yeah, like well, he also mentioned the one thing I do remember from that was yo, what's gonna happen to fucking Uplay? Like it's a French,
Oh yeah,
service.
they're based in France.
So that'll be fun to see.
It's gonna be a wild
Anyway,
ride.
we can move
Speaking of a
on.
wild ride, though.
That's right. It's time for the Weeb shit. You guys did a weak ass job introducing the Weeb shit
Oh
this
my
week, so I
god,
had
I
to come back
already
and do
talked
it myself.
about how I fucking dared to go into the depths of
Of Anime News Network.
Anime News Network, that's what it was.
All right, let's get right into it because we are in the anime preseason right now. Everything is winding down and all the new shit is literally a week away, and I'm getting violently impatient. So let's get through the legitimate news before I just ramble about new anime. So first things first, my anime list, which has in the past had a partnership with Crunchyroll, which you could watch select episodes of shows directly on that anime's page on my anime list. They've announced that they're instead partnering with High Dive. I have no goddamn idea why they would do that because High Dive's library is tiny in comparison to Crunchyroll. Additionally, they only really give you links to like the free version. So any show you can watch free on Crunchyroll, but there's advertisements. I don't know if High Dive had an option like that, and if they don't, that makes this partnership super duper weird. I don't know if it's exclusive though. If it's like Crunchyroll shows get streamed on Crunchyroll, High Dive on High Dive, that would make more sense. But someone told me it was exclusive, and it didn't make any sense for them to do that. Especially given that Mal is trying to reinvent themselves as like a website you go to for actual content as opposed to just keep track of the shows you're watching. But that was the first interesting merger of the week. The second one might be the end of anime streaming. And I know I'm always screaming the sky's falling. But like for real though, the sky is falling. So earlier this year, Sony announced that they had purchased Funimation. And they didn't make too many changes there. Then they had slowly but surely started acquiring other smaller distributors from around the world, including, but not limited to, Anime Lab. There's other ones on here. Wakanim they have. Point is, Sony is now trying to get them all under one umbrella, but that umbrella is very dangerous. So, for anyone who's watched shows like Gurren Lagann, when I say the word Aniplex, you hear a sound in the back of your head, and that's Aniplex, the noise in front of the show. Aniplex sponsors and creates so many of the biggest shows. Like I'll throw it out here. They own Sword Art. That's big enough. But the idea is that if Aniplex, which previously licensed shows on a per show basis to different platforms, now decides we are exclusively channeling all content into Funimation and these select international distributors and no one else. I want to remind you they have like 3 countries. They have the US with Funimation, they have Australia, and they have France. Everyone else is fucked. You cannot legally stream any show from Aniplex if it goes to these services exclusively.
Damn.
That's actually terrible. On top of that, Funimation has been enjoying this extra money from Sony to do whatever the fuck they want. That they have refused to improve their app, their console app, their mobile app, or their website. They still have the most garbage subtitles of any streaming platform. And I'm comparing this to High Dive that has yellow text on some of their subtitles.
Yeesh.
Like, this is bad. This is very, very bad. Like, I shit on Hulu for getting some exclusives because they're partnered with Viz, but honestly, competition is good. The reason I love Crunchyroll so much is because they actually update their site to make it enjoyable to watch subtitled content. And now that just everything's being handed to Funimation on a silver platter, I don't know how I feel about this. Like, I miss when Funimation had to struggle to be competitive and improve themselves, but they haven't improved since they rebranded like 3 years ago. It's been literally the same crappy stuff they threw out during the rebrand.
Time to go sailing instead of Plex.
For real though, even though I do pay for Funimation, like I hate watching their shit. The subtitles are ugly. It's not enjoyable. Like if I was still at that dub stage of my life, I wouldn't care. But like because I've transcended the English language, it's hard.
Yeah, why yellow subtitles? Like, let's be fucking real here.
So with Funimation, they haven't figured out that you need to adjust the border of your words when you scale for 1080p, and instead they just choose to leave the border the same as it was if it was in 240p, which is why you can't see shit. So you have this white text with little to no border that makes it hard to read on especially like bright scenes. The answer to this is one of two things: either you just use a thick black border, or you do what Crunchyroll does and they figure out what's the average color palette of this show and pick a color that's not that contrasts with the average color, and the whole episode will be surrounded in that color. They do that for select series now. They used to do it for all of them, which is why you'd have like certain shows just have like blue green outline on their subtitles. With High Dive and a lot of the shittier distributors, it's a lot of work to figure out what you want to do. And we've known since VHSs in the 90s that yellow text with a thick black border is readable everywhere. It looks disgusting, but it's readable.
So it's just them being lazy.
It's also cheap to render. So yes, it's them being lazy as fuck, which is why like Hulu has it for a ton of shows. High Dive still has it for a ton of shows. Honestly, Netflix had it for a little while. They finally fixed that. Now Netflix has reasonable subtitles.
I was gonna say we'll get to a show that we watched later on, but the subtitles we watched in this show were like fine, but weirdly lagging behind.
Which platform was it on?
I was streaming Chromecast the whole time.
No, but on what platform?
Netflix.
Interesting. So Netflix is usually decent with their subtitles.
Like
I haven't
like
watched
weirdly behind. It was really strange.
It might be just because it's a slightly older show that Netflix had no hand in because it's a Funimation show.
But anyway, we'll get to that.
Anyway,
later.
we'll get to that. But more importantly, is it wrong to pick up Girls in the Dungeon? Season 2 concluded, and they announced a season 3 is on the way.
Can I just ask Freeman real quick? Is this becoming more of a thing at like the end of a show saying, "Hey, this is the next project coming"? Because did that ever happen before a lot? Because we're going to talk about Demon Slayer, My Hero did it, like this did it.
So this is a new trend in anime. So prior to 2010, if a show was going to have 2 seasons, they didn't split it. It would just run for 26 or 52 episodes. That was the way it was done. Starting around 2009, they started adapting more light novel or shorter content where it was basically just an ad for the source material. So you'll see a lot of shows from 2010 to around 2015, 2016 are season 1 shows that don't have a season 2. And this was that's how that meme came about, that season 2 never, because there was a thing that producers didn't want to do. And then much like in the American industry where they figured out sequels sell really well, they found that it's easier to bank on shows that were really popular. So shows that like, is it wrong to pick up Girls in a Dungeon, or even Chihaya Furu, which is picking up again in 3 weeks? Those were insanely popular shows that aired in 2013, 2014 that just they didn't get a season 2 right away because at the time, Chihaya Furu, the point is, at the time it was like, okay, we're done. We never need to touch this again. There's no feasible reason for us to go back.
My show will come back too. And
it was, I'm trying to remember what started it. I want to say it had to do with how Shonen Jump restructured the way they did shows. It was after Bleach imploded. They adapted Death Note authors Bakuman, and instead of asking to do fillers, the author's like, hey, like, can you take 6 months off from the show and like just continue as if it was a continuously running show? And Shonen Jump's owner Shueisha is like, hold on, we have another show that also wants to do that. Why don't we just alternate your time slots? So shows started getting 6 months on, 6 months off, and they dealt with the filler problem. They found that the Japanese public is not as stupid as they thought. Someone can wait 6 months for season 2 and not forget that a show exists. So you saw that with Hero Academia. You saw that with Food Wars. We might see it with Fire Force. We're seeing it with Sword Art Online. Like, this is the new trend, is you can continue within the year. You just need to maintain excitement. You need to throw an announcement and trickle out details like voice actors, promotional material, yada, 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 the whole shebang. And that's where the industry is now, where shows like when Is It Wrong to Pick Girls in a Dungeon, which The only reason it came back is because the mobile game is making a fuck ton of money. That's partially it. They realize if they can keep people's attention, you don't get that huge fall off from season to season if you keep people's attention. Like, I'm not gonna lie, Attack on Titan, the last season had probably the lowest numbers so far, but it had a huge fall off from season 1 to 2 because they spent way too much time not being in the limelight. Like season 2 to 3 was pretty consistent because it was like a year, and even season 3 was broken up by less than 6 months. So the first and second halves didn't experience that huge of a drop off. This is now the new trend: is you have to, if it's popular enough to do a season 2, you should try to maintain consistency until it's not worth it. That's like the new trend.
Cool. I can live with that.
Anyway, so is it wrong to pick up Girls in the Dungeon season 2 finished airing? I still haven't started it because my loser friends won't sit down for more than 2 episodes at a time to watch season 1, so I haven't started season 2. And apparently season 2 had almost no dungeoneering, which is my favorite part of the show, but season 3 apparently is going to have a lot of action. So I will patiently wait for more of this nonsense.
Meanwhile, there's so much fucking other anime coming out.
Meanwhile, there's an actual fuck ton this season. So I linked an article that Crunchyroll had, 'cause I thought it was pretty interesting. They broke down what Japan's most anticipated show is, and it's by gender. So I was confused at first, because like, there's no fucking way Chihaya Furu is the single most hyped show this season.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at this list. Oh yeah, wow, Chihaya Furu's at top. That's hilarious.
Among female watchers, Chihaya Furu is the most anticipated, and that makes a lot more sense.
Val is probably more excited for that than My Hero.
Show. And it's, insanely popular with the female demographic. But the rest of the show, the rest of what's ranked kind of it's the big hotness for the season. It's Seven Deadly Sins, Hero Academia, Psycho Pass, and Sword Art Online are the next 5. And then when you look at how it breaks down by
7, yes.
When you look at how it breaks down by males, it's the same 5 shows except Chihaya Furu gets dropped down to 4th, and the rest of the order is pretty much the same. Actually, no, Sword Art is now 2 instead of 5. So
and My Hero's behind Sword Art. Jeez,
guys really like Sword Art Online. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. This season has taken Sword Art from like a show you can make fun of to like a show I legitimately respect for being entertaining. Don't get me wrong, Alicization has some pretty shitty flaws, and especially if you've read the novels, they leave out a ton of detail. But I'm starting to realize that's just a big problem with anime adaptations as a whole. But I'm legitimately excited for Alicization season 2. It's gonna be real good.
I don't know. We'll see.
Did you watch Alicization 1?
No, I gave up on that series like forever ago.
Yep.
Come on.
Same as us. The same
Come
time
on.
That I need to watch it, but like, man, I don't know.
It's legitimately entertaining.
See, but Freeman, that Alfheim was fucking trash, though. So.
Oh, I'm aware of it.
It's hard.
So was season 2. But Gun Gale Online was the perfect Fortnite adaptation we could have asked for.
Yo, but like,
and Alicization is legitimately entertaining. Like, it asks serious questions, like what if you could legitimately raise an AI as an NPC in a video game?
Oh my god.
Yo.
No, seriously. Like, what if you can go into a game and live out an entire life with an AI NPC as your partner? Like, imagine if a video game like that existed.
That's neato, but like, what about my backup? What about my backup waifu though?
I can't fight these kind of arguments.
You can't. Yeah,
these I can't win this.
All justifiable.
Oh my god.
Anyway,
you can't win, but there are alternatives.
Get the fuck out of here! All right, Japan's really excited. The one thing no one's excited about, though, is that Fire Force is forced to go on hiatus.
I know. This is sad.
This is not a production issue. This has nothing to do with fire sensitivity in Japan. This was a known thing because every year, like half of like the anime that airs on Saturday is canceled because there's this summer sports festival in Japan. Think of it as like the Japanese only Olympics. And it always causes broadcast issues with anime that's in this time slot. So they knew Fire Force was going to have to take 2 weeks off. Strangely enough, it seems like it's continuing to air on the Chinese streaming network that's carrying it, which doesn't make any sense because it's not like 11 episodes 11 and 12 are like just going to suddenly come out. Like 11 and 12 are picking up in 2 weeks. So I don't know why the fuck it's airing early in China. That may have been a mistranslation of the news, but everyone was kind of confused by that because it makes it sound like these episodes are already done, and this break is really not part of their plan. I don't know. At some point, China's going to have to slow down so we can catch up to them. But Fire Force is coming real soon. They're using this time to re-promote it. So they've changed the key visual for the show to show off some of the new characters going to show up in the next arc. There's a lot of speculation because there's a dude standing next to the main character who he
saw that.
Kind of looks like he'd be the main character's brother if he was evil.
We saw
just
it already.
a little bit.
Wait a minute. Wait. Did you catch up?
Yeah, I'm caught up.
Well, then why are you sounding so coy about this? We've
Well,
already seen what he looks like. We
wait,
know
what?
that that's who it is.
Wait,
You
did I
don't.
not watch
Are
the
you?
actual newest episode?
The very end of the episode, it cuts to a dark church. Do you not remember? Oh.
I totally watched this episode.
At the end of the very end shot of this episode is, hey, look, here's a dark church with way more people in white robes than we would like to see in a given place, and sitting at the fucking head of the room is that guy.
But did they give his name out loud?
No, but we all know who it is because we just finished a conversation about how his brother being alive.
What the fuck are you talking about? I'm watching the last 3 minutes now. I don't know what scene you're talking about. It
Did
ends
you
with
watch
the
through the
last shot is
credits?
Benny Morrow destroying this dude. Then the credits roll, and then it ends.
I gotta look. I remember seeing this
I gotta
shot.
go back.
All right. Anyway,
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 I gotta mute this
Um,
so I can look.
anyway, back to the Weeb shit. Sorry, I'm caught off guard by trying to fact check that. Anyway, so some anime is starting this season. A majority of the shows that we're all going to talk about for the next couple weeks, they will be starting in 2 to 3 weeks now. But the first round is coming out. Not too much this week. We Never Learned season 2. Luigi and I agree this is probably the most well done air quotes harem anime in a long time, where every female character is legitimately an interesting character on their own, regardless of the plot. I highly recommend it. It's adorable, fun show. It's not like some fan service, whatever. You know what you're doing. It's a harem anime. Moving on. Fate Grand Order is getting an anime adaptation. For anyone who's good at not spending money, you probably haven't played the Fate Grand Order mobile game, which is like the poster child for gacha games. For the longest time, no one knew the plotline because no one actually wanted to sit there and play through this payfest. But the thing is, it's a core part of like the Fate franchise at this point. So now it's finally starting to expand out. We are getting an anime adaptation of like the core storyline of the mobile game. Honestly, Fate can turn literally anything into a storyline. So I'm gonna watch this. I don't think Ufotable's working on this. It's probably whatever studio did Fate Apocrypha, which was well animated. It was just a shitty storyline. So I have high hopes for this show.
Okay.
Who am I kidding? I have no hopes for this show.
Hold on. Side note, real quick. I determined why I misspoke. It was actually 2 weeks ago. The second newest episode had that shot at the end.
But did they straight up say the character's name?
No, but they have a conversation. We are going to assume your brother is alive. Cut to this scene. There is a guy who looks like his brother sitting at the head of a line of dudes.
Sorry, I'm using the 10-second rewind feature.
It's episode 10. If you go to like 2 minutes before the end, you see them talking, and the lieutenant's like, "Hey, man, we're gonna assume your brother's alive." Cut to church, rows of dudes, guy sitting at the head.
Oh, you know what? I didn't see the smile when I first watched it. Like if you just look at him, he just looks like a dude, but the smile's the giveaway.
Yeah, but also the context clues of the conversation that just happened.
Oh, when I saw it without seeing the last shot, I just figured he was the leader of the group.
Yes. Anyway.
But
okay.
I didn't connect that part.
There we go. So now
his brother's evil. There, we said it. All right.
All this means nothing unless you watch Fire Force, which you should, because it's...
Anyway, back to shows I'm watching. So Fate Grand Order is going to be a thing. But that sucks. The one show I do want to talk about is we're getting a sports anime that looks promising. So my favorite sports anime before Haikyuu had come out was Kuriko's Basketball, which is really cool, but it's got like Super Saiyan bullshit powers in the middle of the game. It kind of ruins the integrity of being a sports anime. And it's a straight up battle shonen that uses basketball. It's a great show, but you lose that kind of realism aspect. Even shows like Yaoi Pedal, which I love, has a little bit of unrealistic bullshit, especially in the second season. Whereas Haikyuu tends to, if you ignore the fact there's no way Hinata can actually jump that high, the rest of the show is 100% realistic. And it seems like Ahiru no
Why are you
Sora,
putting limits on him?
the new basketball anime, is going to be one of those semi-realistic sports anime, which I'm excited to see them do for basketball.
Well,
I don't know
Kobe
much
Bryant
about it.
Be in it.
Sorry, wasn't it?
Will Kobe Bryant be in it?
Oh my
Bro, it's the Japanese playing basketball. So in the Kuriko's Basketball movie, which came after the series, they needed a new villain. So they bring in just some American players. and they have to come up with just like the most American names they can come up with for an anime. So I think, like the biggest, blackest dude, like this guy is Jason Silver, and just because it was like easy for
What
the
a name.
Japanese voice
What a
actors to
name.
pronounce, like Jason
Shane
Silva.
Pornstar.
And then what was his Nash Gold Jr. was the real villain.
Ugh.
Yeah, they would be, and the rest of the team didn't have names. It was just those two. But that was that's the closest you're gonna get to like actual NBA players in an anime. But yeah, I hear Nasora. Very excited for it. We'll see if it's actually decent. For all we know, it's just gonna be complete crap. I don't know what studio's behind it, but whatever. Like I said, this week is weird. We're getting some shows airing, a majority are not coming out until later in October, but pretty much every show from last season has ended. So like there's not a lot to talk about. I still have to finish up like Do You Love Your Mom or Two-Hit Multi-Target Attacks? What else do I have? Ari Ferretta, which I'm not finishing because I need to read the books first. Like I watched one episode before reading that part in the books, and it was ass. They left out 90% of the content. So like like I have to keep reading these books, and they're really wordy. So it's gonna take me a while to actually finish that one. But I think I wrapped up most of the other stuff I was watching this season. Should we talk about shows that we watched?
Well,
Yeah,
Or do I need to
watched
formally end the Weeb shit before we can talk
yeah,
about that?
go ahead.
No, wow.
All right, well that was it for the Weeb shit. We're about to talk about more anime,
Yes,
so
now
not
Now we'll
really.
talk about more anime.
We're gonna go into our weeks, even though we are still talking about anime. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff we've all done because Freeman has been on 2 weeks. Me and Tyler have been on, or me and Tyler missed. We all missed last week, I should say. So yeah, go ahead. Shows we've watched.
So, of the shows that finished airing last season, there's a couple legitimately good ones. The first one, and I really want to praise this one, is how heavy are the dumbbells that you lift? I went in thinking this was going to be one of these look at the anime girl shows. And it turns out it was look at everyone flexing. Look at all this information they're throwing at me. They're going to teach me how to lift while having cute anime girls on screen. And that was the actual like synopsis of the show. And this ended up inspiring a lot of people to actually start working out because it's a legitimate infotainment show. Like they'll have a little bit where someone jokes around about like why are my arms so flabby, and then bam, Machio, this ripped ass instructor who's voiced by Naofumi from the Shield Hero, will just come and be like, "Hey, you want to work on your triceps?" And it'll cut away to the sequence on how to work out. And it's like it legitimately teaches you how to work out at home or at a gym. So much so that so many like I was going to call them weaves, but they're not technically. Like Japanese anime fans started going to gyms to the point where there was large scale complaints of just very like overweight, smelly people suddenly coming to the gym.
Damn.
Sounds a lot like what happened with camping. Remember weren't there stories like
people started going camping after Laid Back Camp came out.
Yeah.
Incredible.
I thought you were implying that fat, smelly people in our camping trip from 2 years ago were somehow connected. I was trying to figure out a connection.
No, although we did go camping after watching Laid Back.
Yeah, for real. But yeah, I can't recommend this show enough. Like, despite all like the nonsense jokes and swimsuit episodes, like it's a genuinely wholesome show, deep down underneath all the muscles.
Cool.
For anyone who's ever been afraid of going to the gym, this is a great way to just learn. This teaches you in an anime environment. That sounded way cooler in my head until I said it out loud. But yeah, go watch the dumbbell anime. It was really good. The next one I watched, this actually wasn't from last season. I started watching with my buddy because we needed to kill some time before Sword Art Food Wars Junior Academia became our Friday show. But we started this one called Hinamatsuri, which I heard a lot about from like Glass Reflection talked about it. Pretty much everyone who reviewed it said it was hilarious. And it was really weird watching this because I've watched a lot of Japanese comedies, and I showed you guys Grand Blue. Grand Blue is a like traditional comedy anime.
I want to finish
where someone will say something stupid and then like Chisa or someone else will smack someone over the head because that's how Japanese humor is. Someone says something stupid and then someone beats them up for it. And a majority of comedy anime fall into that comedy pattern, and like the Japanese really love it. It's so. It really depends on how funny the actual first part of the joke is. Hinamatsuri has a very different style of comedy where it's just like someone will say or do something so absurd and the rest of the cast will just like act as if it was normal, and the whole scene will play out as if this absurdist shit was normal. And I think it's amazing. Like this, it's a strange show to begin with. Like this Yakuza guy comes home and he finds this alien girl just lands, and she's very emotionless, and she's just like, "Oh, give me food, or I'm gonna like destroy your expensive vases." And this Yakuza guy has now to become this dad to this alien who just doesn't understand social cues. And there's this other alien who shows up who's just like I can't describe it. Like, this show is fucking hilarious. Like, go out there and give this a shot.
Right.
Moving on, Fruits Basket season 1 ended. So I think I know I talked to you guys about it in person. I don't know if I complained about it on the podcast at all.
I don't think
But
so.
so
Not really.
For anyone who watched Fruits Basket in the early 2000s, it's one of those like quintessential shoujo animes. But the tone doesn't really match the actual series, where it's a very serious show about abuse and overcoming childhood issues, whereas the original one kind of felt like a comedy. But watching this, it was kind of annoying at first because the main character is a little bit of a, what's the phrase for it? Mary Sue.
Oh.
Like,
Oh.
she's a nothing burger.
Yeah.
She's just cutesy there for the other characters, and it was really annoying. And I honestly debated on dropping the show in episode 12 or 13 until they decided to do something I wasn't expecting. All the side characters got like long backstory episodes, and all of them had their own complete saga of them like dealing with their trauma to become the character that they are right now. And it almost became that I didn't care about the main character; I cared about everyone else. And the last couple episodes like legitimately had me tearing up. So I've got to praise Fruits Basket for doing that. I hope this carries on through season 2. They seem to have indicated they want to adapt the entire manga, which has ended a while ago, which would bring them to about 2.5 seasons worth of episodes. So I'm looking forward to season 2. I don't know if an exact date's been given, but it has been confirmed to be happening. Honestly, go check it out. It's a high quality show. You just have to deal with the fact that the main character is a nothing burger for the first like 15 episodes.
Sick.
Nothing burger. The Mary Sue.
For real though, like she's adorable, but like that's about it. Like there's nothing else going on with her, and it's really annoying. Like she doesn't change for 15 episodes.
You're adorable,
Damn.
but that's kind of all you got.
Well, no, like the thing is, like characters actually say that exact sentence you just said to her.
Oh god.
Like I'm not even kidding.
That's a yikes.
All right,
That's a yikes for me, dog.
anyway, but that's it for the shows that only I watch. Let's have a group conversation
So,
with the next couple.
I know we were talking about it, but you reminded me that we actually didn't talk about the last episode or two of Fire Force. Freeman, I know going into like around episode 9, we had that amazing fight and we had the curb stomp from orbit. You were kind of on the fence about the show because the animation was good, but you were kind of like, the story is not really grabbing me. Do you feel like that has changed now that we've gotten these two very story-heavy episodes?
No, it hasn't changed. So
wow.
I want to talk specifically about the last episode because if you stop me at the commercial break in the middle, I'd tell you this episode is terrible, and if you stop me at the end, I'd tell you it's really good.
Oh shit! I had the exact opposite thing. I was like, oh, it's cool to learn this backstory, and then, oh, this is just kind of randomly rushed and thrown together real quick at the second half.
So I want to remind you, before the last episode, it ended with they all come back to Firehouse 8, and Shinra looks at the camera and says, man, it feels nostalgic to be back here. And everyone's just kind of smiling, and it's like, I don't know, man, I've only seen the Firehouse like 4 times at this point in the series. So then they go into the next episode, and I'm going to draw comparisons to Bleach, because that's all I see in this fucking show. So in Bleach, there was this group called the Vizards. They're introduced around episode like maybe 70. And then when episode 150 rolls around, someone's like, look, you really need to understand our origin to like really know why we're doing what we're doing. And they give this like 4-episode backstory arc, and it completely recontextualizes why core characters are doing what they're doing and really explains a lot of their actions. Episode 10, we get the explanation of the formation of the Firehouse, and the explanation like wasn't really necessary, and it would have had way more impact if we had more time with these characters. Like, I legitimately don't remember hearing the captain say much since episode 3. Like, everything he said since then has been like, we gotta infiltrate Firehouse 1. We gotta go to Firehouse 5. Like, he just gives the mission lines, but we don't see him do or say anything. Like, he's supposed to be like the Roy Mustang of the series, but he's not up to that yet. And to show this like air quotes heartfelt backstory of how the two of them are like, we have the ideal Fire Force ideology. Like, that would have been great, but like, it's too early for this. Like, it didn't hit me at all because it's like you haven't had time to build the impact this is supposed to be causing. Like, I get what they're going for. And then we get to... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask, do you know... Oh, right, no, we've talked about this show is a show original. This wasn't a manga or anything.
No, it is a manga.
It is?
Yeah.
Do you know if the manga has similar issues?
I mean, I'm assuming this is a 1-to-1 adaptation, so I guess it's just the like. I'm not like I want to say this. I'm not faulting Shaft and David Productions. They're doing a great job adapting this. I'm criticizing the source material.
Yeah.
But then you go into the second half of the episode, and the big thing this show has had going for me is the who's good, who's bad of the Fire Force. And right now we've gone through Firehouse 5 is evil. Oh, they're the allies. Firehouse 1 is evil. Oh, no, it was just one guy. Firehouse 1 is good. And now they go along to Firehouse 7. And I'm like, God, are they going to do this fucking plot line again? But no, they turn it on their heads. And the captain of Firehouse 7 and their whole deal is very interesting. Like, the animation was great, but I'm looking from a story perspective. I like what they're doing with Firehouse 7.
It's certainly different from the rest. It's kind of like the
Anyway,
enemy you know, enemy you don't kind of thing.
Pretty
'Cause
much.
He's not a good guy. Like, he fucking blew up a lot of that fucking town.
No, but
For
their whole
absolutely no reason.
like this, but like when they go to Firehouse 7, they deal with the fact like there's a section, there's a different culture dealing with how
Yeah.
we deal with people who literally combust. Like no one's addressing the fact that the rest of Tokyo is unpopulated. Only Tokyo is hospitable right now. Like no
rest of
one
the
is
world?
touching on this interesting part of the world.
You mean the rest
Instead,
of the
it's
world? Or the rest
no,
of
there's
Japan? Because you
just
said the rest
Japan.
of Tokyo, and then you said...
Sorry, they've indicated for I don't know what the rest of the world is. But they've said that like Tokyo is all that's left of Japan.
Yeah, they have said that in the holy nuclear reactor.
But like we're not like there's so much to touch on. And it's just like these bugs at Firehouse 1. It's like come on, like you
These bugs.
And this is I know it's the author. Like I'm sorry, I'm just rambling about this.
I feel
but
like the show really wants to move fast and is trying to get past all the stuff that all the other shows do for show building, but it kind of needs to slow down a little bit.
that's
I
what I'm
agree
saying.
that the show feels like it's moving very quickly.
Like it's trying to hit all the good notes that all like the big shonen do, but like we're on episode 10.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, Gurren did even more with less time.
I honestly I wouldn't say that.
Really?
Like episode 1 through 3 of Gurren are let's get a robot to fight the Beastmen. Episode
I feel like
5, 6, 7, let's get a robot to fight the Beastmen. Episode 7, oh wow, what happened to the leader? And then it's still until episode 15. That's still the plot line. It's let's get bigger robots to fight the Beastmen.
No, I know.
It's
I'm
not
saying I
until-
was talking about the episode 7 thing. Like, I feel like that's a bigger thing than has actually technically happened in Fire Force, and we're 10 episodes in now. But I feel like the author's trying to match that pace.
But here's the thing. In my opinion, what happens in episode 3, where he meets this guy who implies like, you know, the whole shit with your childhood, like that may not have been an accident. Like that's the kind of reveal you could play up as like a Gurren episode 7 level thing. But it got thrown out so early. Like I don't really remember the full context of that conversation. I need to rewatch it now.
That's fair.
Because it was just so early in the show.
I feel like they're just trying to juggle too many things, and I feel like by the end they're all going to come back to those evangelicals. But
Definitely.
until then, it just feels like I do understand more of what you were saying earlier, where it just feels like there's too many threads right now.
Like
Because
I
right now,
definitely
I'm
feel
not
like
watching this show.
I definitely feel like they are all connected, but it does feel like we're moving really quick.
yeah, I want to reiterate to the viewers, I don't hate Fire Force. This is not by any stretch of the imagination a bad show. I'm just airing my frustrations about it.
That's fair. You know what's amazing, though, and ended sadly?
Go on.
Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba.
Shonen of the
Mitsuyo
season.
Yuba.
So,
Animation of the year.
Wow, really?
Not show of the year, animation of the year.
Oh, with 19?
Honestly, like they did my favorite thing. So I've already told the viewers the thing that got me to watch the show was the first time he's in a revolving room. And they pulled this sequence in the final episode where there's this MC Escher room and the camera's doing crazy shit.
That! Yes.
Like that blew my mind.
Dude, I feel
Ufotable
like
so good with 3D cameras.
I actually feel like it sucks that I don't watch more anime because I feel like that would mean a lot. Because based on reading r/anime, people were losing their minds.
No one's ever done anything like this cleanly.
And I know earlier today at the top of our anime was a comparison video showing what they turned the manga pages for that into for the anime, and it looks like impressive. That impressed me more almost than actually watching it, because that's the kind of thing you see in like live action before, just with real cameras. But yeah, compared to what the manga looked like, this is a wild ride.
Like this is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to take one medium and adapt it. You're supposed to make it the best it can be in another medium. And JC Staff, I know you're fucking listening to this podcast, 'cause I know you listen every week.
I know.
This is what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to take the panels of the manga and add a PowerPoint slide thing to it. Which by the way, I had a chance to rewatch a bit of Food Wars season 1, and I realized they've been doing this shit since season 1. I just didn't notice it. But like JC Staff, you're listening to me. Just enough is not enough. You have to actually make it better than what you had based on your medium. I keep slamming these cards on the table because I'm getting like angry talking about this.
Dude, also, this is just stealing from the manga too, though, but Dimensional Fortress is one of the coolest fucking names for a place I've ever heard.
Hell yeah. It
fucking
literally sounds like
awesome.
one of the names like the ships at the end of Gurren.
Yeah, seriously.
Cathedral Terra.
We need to breach the Dimensional Fortress.
I'm
Tyler,
happy
what'd
they
you
announced it. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, Tyler, you haven't talked in a while. What did you think of the end of Demon Slayer?
I thought it was pretty crazy. I can't spoil anything.
Who cares?
Who cares? Yo, I thought it was fucking lit when Michael Jackson just said, "Fuck this, y'all suck dick," and just killed them all.
That was pretty great. That was pretty great.
Whoa!
So the best part about that scene was every single one of them was voiced by like a veteran voice actor. Like they got an insane amount of voice talent for a scene where most of them only had one line and just fucking died.
Can I just say, Freeman, like, what is going on with this show? Because you said the same thing when the Hishiras show up. You're like, Jesus, if
Dude,
you know how many old
fucking voice actors in this shit, like it's insane. I can't believe how many people are tying their names to this project.
Yo, cause it's lit, fam.
Like it's actually a dream. Like honestly, there's a huge discussion in the anime community right now about is Demon Slayer overrated? And you know, in some aspects, yes. Like one of my favorite shit posting pages put up a poll about what do you think about Demon Slayer? Is it the most groundbreaking show ever or the worst show this season? And everyone is like, whoa, back the fuck up. Like this is not a revolutionary show. It's not like redefining the genre or doing anything crazy. It's just a well executed shonen, and that's what it is. It's the execution's great. Like someone boiled it down to like Tanjiro, you know, he's got three things. It's sympathize for your enemy. I love my sister. I'm always gonna be a good boy. Those are the three things about him, and there's nothing else about his character.
There ain't much to
the best boy.
Like there's not a lot of depth to him. Like that's not a bad thing. I'm not like here to watch him like spew his ideals about how Michael Jackson's ruining feudal Japan. Like
you're not wrong, but can I also just kind of say that it's not actually the worst thing in the world to have a shonen where the main character like has sympathy? Like I know that that's kind of a trait that they tend to have, but
Naruto.
Okay,
go on.
Watched that. Fuck. But I don't know, something like, but also the animation conveys that really well, and it just feels really sincere. Like you can tell, like Midoriya, because obviously we all watch like My Hero. Like he has sympathy, but he's focused on being a hero. Tanjiro just seems like a genuinely nice guy.
It's like, man, I just want to be. Won't you be my neighbor? Type of motherfucker.
No,
like
Tanjiro is like, won't you be my neighbor if you weren't a demon?
If you weren't a demon, could you be my neighbor?
Like it just feels like there's a level of it just feels like there's a level of respect in this show that Tanjiro has, and it's kind of just refreshing to see him be like, I do have a job to do, I recognize that, but I'm not here to be mean. I'm not here to be a dick. Instead of just like Midoriya, who's just like, I am a hero. And I'm a hero.
So like that's the thing. Like a lot of people are pointing out that like, yeah, Midoriya needs something going into the next couple seasons to drive him, because now that he's gotten the point beyond, like once he got mastery of All for One, people are like, okay, well he needs like his next thing to work towards. Otherwise, we're kind of like stuck with a character who's not progressing. And you know, there's some hints from the community, because they won't shut the fuck up, that we're gonna get it in the next season. Yeah, so I'm very excited
even
for
Mother's
that.
Basement's video the other day about the Bakugo Deku fight from the end of season 3. He was like, man, there's a lot of shit coming in the next season because the manga people.
Shut the fuck up.
2 or 3 big fights are coming this season. I was like, oh, okay.
Too many forecasts.
Anyway, but the last point about Demon Slayer, Demon Slayer. I almost said Goblin
Oh
Slayer.
yeah.
Demon Slayer is they confirmed that it's going to be continued in a movie, which a lot of manga readers have said it's the perfect length for the next arc. Um, but honestly, like
Choo-choo.
I'm pissed it's a fucking movie. Like
Oh, I am too.
if we got season 2, it's fine. I have to wait to watch it. But with the movie, there's 2 waiting periods. You have to wait for it to come out, and then that's when the waiting game starts. You have to wait to watch it, and at that
And
point,
watch it in the US.
there's no real
Um,
finite date where you're actually going to be able to watch.
Yeah.
Like, is it
Yo,
is it coming out in theaters? I don't know. When's it coming out on Blu-ray? I don't
if
know.
it
When's it
Oh,
only
getting leaked on
comes
the
out
internet?
in
I don't know.
theaters,
Like,
I would go.
bro,
I
I'm
don't know.
upset. Nah, because you know why? It's different. I think this time around, like Broly, like added that movie to Super's universe, but it's like you have to watch this movie if you want to know what the fuck is going
Yeah,
on.
But
but
like, I'm
I mean, this
concerned it's
would
going
be.
to bring the same kids who were there for the Hero Academia movie who were screaming out
They
fucking
probably
Bakugo and
are,
what's his
but
face.
like, unlike like My Hero, me and Val went to because it was our first anime in theaters. But Demon Slayer, I feel like would be worth seeing in theaters because I do care about the story and I do want to see this animation on a big screen. Like My Hero has hype moments, but nothing in the movie was like so jaw-droppingly gorgeous that I needed to see it on the big screen.
I don't know. So I still think that the last sequence was movie theater material.
It was really good, but I don't know. Like I think about Demon Slayer 19 because of course, and even the scene with the house with the dimensional fortress, and like Ufotable on a movie budget in theaters.
Oh, we already know what they're doing with the movie budget. They're rocking with the Heaven's Feel movies for Fate Stay Night. Like they know what they're doing. This movie is going to be amazing. I'm just pissed
Here's-
it's not a season 2.
Oh no, I
Yeah,
fully.
same.
I think it's impossible that this movie doesn't end saying season 2 is coming. I don't think that's possible.
Not at this point anymore. We'll see how sales go for the next couple weeks, but the way things have been trending,
But like even
shit's
something
happening.
as obviously this is unreliable, but like r/anime, the weekly polls or the weekly threads, Demon Slayer has been like doubling the score of everything else.
I understand that, but at the same
know that
time,
means
the
nothing.
anime community doesn't give a shit about our subreddit.
No, I know.
Yeah,
But I'm just saying, like with the whole Twitter trending and everything, like it just doesn't feel possible for this to not get a season 2, considering how many, like you said, Freeman, lately more and more shows have been getting another season. Like,
Yeah,
okay,
especially
Freeman,
especially Shonen Jump.
as much as you talk shit about Overlord, Overlord got 3 seasons. Do you really think Demon Slayer doesn't get a second season?
Yo, man, we've
Look,
seen
man,
shit like that happen, man. High School
I've
of the
lived-
Dead
I've
hasn't
lived.
gotten a second season, bro.
High School of the Dead had a second season announced and then didn't get a second season. Like that.
Yeah. Shit,
Like,
dude, this shit happens all the time.
We've seen enough disasters happen to never trust
Right.
anything until it's actually already airing.
Dead Man
Like,
Wonderland, a
I'm
fucking
convinced.
banger,
Oh my
was on
fucking
Toonami,
God.
didn't get a second season.
And it was one of the best shows on Toonami at that time. Like everyone in the West loved it, but that was the problem. Everyone in the West loved it.
Well, yeah,
Yep.
Japan's its own weird thing. But that's how we
Yeah.
get anime, because Japan's its own weird thing.
For real. Every time we try and do here, we just get like Neo Yokio or some
Speaking
bullshit.
of-
System Neo
Oh,
Yoki.
Jesus.
God
Speaking of
damn.
shows, though, that I wish got a season 2, over the last, 3 days, Val and I binged-watched all of The Devil is a Part-Timer on Netflix.
Hell yeah.
That show was
Great
a lot
show.
of fun. It was not earth-shattering in any way.
No, it's a goofy little 12-episode show that's just.
But it was a lot of fun, and I told Freeman that if he knew where I could sail across the sea to find a light novel or manga, I would actually read it. But I would, but I honestly don't know if this is the kind of show with enough plot for me to care about. I kind of just enjoyed the anime a lot.
So this might wet your whistle here. So the anime adapted the first 2 novels. There are 24 of them.
I know there are. That's why I was like, I can't spend a few $100s on light novels.
Yeah, for real.
But I don't know. It's just a fun, simple show. If you're looking for something not super high pressure, but one thing I will say is kind of like, remember how in the beginning I was like, yay, Fire Force isn't wasting a lot of time with a lot of this thing that everyone else does, and now it's kind of becoming a problem because this whole series is still moving too fast. I feel like Devil is a Part-Timer did it really well because characters from another world show up, and there is no time. 10 minutes halfway through the first episode. Okay, we've been living in Japan for a while, and now we know how the world works, and we're not fish out of water anymore. And I really liked that because I was worried that this show would be like, oh, Fisher, how's he gonna, all the language, all this weird shit. It's like, nope. 5 minutes in, you get in Japan where they ask questions, and then we just cut forward. They're living here, and it's fine.
Yep, they showed you enough of the jarring situation, and then cut to the part that they wanted to show you. Like they showed you just enough of what you need to see.
Yeah, and I like it because it feels like it's kind of funny how it's almost like a harem show, but there's not actually a harem.
Kind
You know
of,
what I
yeah.
mean,
It's basically
Freeman?
like there's like 2 girls.
There's like
maybe
there's
3,
a number
maybe.
of girls in the show, but only one of them actually does like the main character at all.
It's not. This is a soft harem, not a hard harem. I
Yeah.
think is the technical term for this.
Okay, then. No, but it's
Damn.
just it's only 13 episodes, and it's the kind of thing where I would love if, like, Freeman, you mentioned in a dungeon 6 years later got a second season. I would love if this got another season, but I feel like this is the kind of show that I can just enjoy and not necessarily be like, I gotta go read the whole thing. Like, I wouldn't mind if I could get my hands on it, but I'm not gonna go spend the money on it.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
it might be one of those series where you just read a couple of the books and whatnot. Like I don't know how captivating the story is going forward, given
yeah,
we've
I
only
have
seen
no
like
idea, but I
the
will
first
say
10% of it.
apparently it's still coming out, so there must be some
It's
kind
still
of
very popular.
which, if, like I said, if there was ever going to be a second season, I would watch it right away because I had a lot of fun with it. But if you're looking for something, like I said, I'll say it one last time, nice and easy. It's on Netflix, and it's just a fun little time, and it's nothing super serious. I will say, do you remember when Lucifer shows up?
Yes.
The scene where he puts the bridge back and then flies up to Lucifer, dude.
I
was
loosely remember. It's been like 5 years since I watched this.
okay. So all he does is like he floats up and he gets really up in Lucifer's face, and Lucifer looks like he's gonna shit his pants, and then he does like a mile-long magic punch on Lucifer. I was laughing my ass off at that shit. There's some funny shit in this show. I definitely think it's a good time, and I would recommend it. But yeah, Devil is a part-timer. Me and Val laughed and had a good time, and it was just one of those things where it was a good way to blow a few hours. Speaking of ways to continue to blow a lot of time, because this show is fantastic.
Yes.
Dr. Stone.
Dr. Stone.
I'm still probably not gonna give this a try.
Minecraft the anime.
Dude, this thing has ramped up. Not okay. Saying ramp up really hard is like
Not really, because it's been in a very consistent place the last couple
that
weeks.
acid episode though. Oof.
That was intense.
That was I actually really liked the way they represented a dangerous chemical. That was actually really
Especially from the perspective of someone who doesn't know what a chemical is. Like
Yes.
that's the best part.
That was the best. But yeah, we're about to start like an actual conflict, which is really exciting. Like we're actually moving towards our objective finally. I gotta say, it was really good payoff this past week.
I didn't see the new episode yet. Normally I'd watch it on Mondays.
Never mind.
Normally I'd watch on Mondays, but this week is the Jewish holidays, so unfortunately
Ah.
I could not watch with my boys and watching on Friday.
Well,
When's it not?
Man, get the fuck out of here.
No, it was really good this week. I'm very excited because everything's finally coming together. I don't know.
Oh,
Dr.
yeah.
Stone's just been quality.
It's all coming together.
Week after week.
Jesus.
Dr. Stone has just been good. That's all I'll say. But yeah, I if you're looking again, Dr. Stone is a little more stressful than something like Devil's Part-Timer, but it's
accurate statement.
It's honestly just fun to watch someone rebuild society. It's like Freeman said, it's like if you like Minecraft, if any part of you
They
does
live in a
or
society.
ever did like Minecraft,
Well, it's not that, well, no, they don't yet live in a society. That's the
yeah,
problem.
they have to build the society.
There's
They're
no-
building
no-
a society.
And they're starting with the bottom text.
Oh my
Jesus fuck.
Freeman,
We call
why
those
is this on the
subtitles.
list again?
Why is
What?
what on the list again?
Oh, because Tyler watched. I didn't get a chance to start it yet.
Tyler, you watched Mate? What?
Oh wait. Oh,
No,
What the
Maid.
hell? I
did.
spoke
I
to
thought-
you.
I was talking about the thing at the
Oh.
bottom of the list. Sorry. Oh yeah. No. Tyler, go ahead, because you didn't tell our viewers what you thought about, but talk about Made in Abyss.
Yo, Man in the Abyss is pretty fucking great.
Woo!
I was ready
I
to
forgot you
cry
watched this.
halfway through it. I'm like, this is pretty wild. I'm not gonna lie.
God.
I'm like, oh shit, her arm broke. Damn, this is fucked up. And then I got to the end where it's like the big brother
Tyler,
moment, and I was like,
geez.
stop.
I'm not gonna play that card. I'm not. I was tempted last week to try to make you
Don't
cry on
do
air,
it.
just like I could with Val, but I'm not gonna do it.
Don't, dude. That I was like, whoa. Like, I didn't like cry or anything, but it made me go, holy shit. Like, I was like,
Dude,
damn, this actually fucked me up.
It's hard to
For
watch.
real.
It's
It
actively
was
hard
hard.
to watch.
And then after all that stuff happened, right? And then oh my god, why am I forgetting her name? When she wakes up and she's like, "Oh man, like how's everything?" And it's just like, "Oh
Where's
my
the other?
god.
no.
Where's the other girl?
Where's the other girl? Oh, that's right."
Ooh boy. Ooh
Ugh.
boy.
That was a roller coaster, man.
I'm
But
glad you finally watched it.
I really enjoyed though. I
Also-
honestly the character design kind of like threw me off.
Yeah, it was a little weird at first, but
Um
yeah, used to it.
What do you think
You-
of
you-
the visual quality of the show?
I think the set design and the background, like everything, like I said, I'm still kind of not a fan of the characters, to be honest.
No,
But like
that's fine. I mean, like, yeah, I mean everything else.
everything else is absolutely stellar, and the
'Cause-
animation quality is like
Yeah, because you're a
top
big
notch.
world building guy, so I figured you would appreciate like the super intricate designs of like each level and everything like that. And
Or even just like the mystery of it, of the
Yeah.
abyss as a whole.
Yeah, it's absolutely it's fantastic. Like the concepts are very um what's it called simple, but like each floor has their caveat and they go into great detail to
Yup.
explain them.
Real
And I'm
quick,
like,
I'm gonna send a picture to our group chat. It was a snap that I sent Tim as I was watching Made in Abyss. Because when I was watching, I was doing one episode at a time, and every night Tim's like, "Oh, what do you think of it so far?" I'm like, "Ah, it's pretty good. We'll see what happens." And then I had to send him this picture mid
shit.
episode because I was like ready to throw up.
Yo, for real though. Oh my god. Dude, for real though. I was like, damn, this is fucked.
Stop. Goodbye. Yep.
Listeners, Made in Abyss is a great show. You should watch it. Don't look anything
Oh.
into what's going on. It's a great show. Nothing bad ever happens ever. Just
Nothing
kids on an
bad
adventure. Nothing bad.
happens.
Are we
ever
ever
happened.
gonna get anything else?
What with Made in Abyss?
Yes. When is? it
Yeah, I thought
supposed
there
to
was
happen?
Well, the
another
movie's
season.
like coming out in Japan like right fucking
Oh,
now.
the
Oh my
movie. That's
God.
right. The movie.
Oh, good. Another movie to never be announced for the U.S.
Right?
until it's suddenly.
It's-
Ugh,
It's not happening.
fucking bullshit.
But yeah, the whole time though, I was kind of thinking, I'm like, man, this is basically Journey to the Center of the Earth meets like Dante's
Yes,
Inferno.
it's great. That's a great way to put it, actually.
Yeah, I highly recommend this because like I watched them, like, you know what, I've heard Val and Tim, mostly Val, go on about this thing. Why not give it a try, right? Like why not? Why not?
It's also pretty
Oh no,
short.
I stand corrected. January 2020 is when the movie's coming out. The last recap movie's in theaters in Japan right now.
Damn.
Fuck, that's what it is. Those keep
Yeah.
showing up on fucking Crunchyroll.
January 2020, we get some Bone Daddy shit
Some
going
new
on
co-
here.
Oh
Get some
God,
Bone
fucking-
Daddy.
No, Tyler. Do you know this? The Mr. Purple Mask is the villain of the movie.
Oh,
Bond
I
we're gonna
should've
see,
known.
we're gonna see what the fuck he's doing.
I'm ready.
Because
I'm ready
goddamn,
for
that
some
whole
fucking
tube
revenge.
facility is pretty fucked.
I want revenge. I want this to happen.
Oof, yeah.
Like this is like next to like I want John Wick to succeed. Like this
I
is
want
the
John
kind of
Wick to go
revenge
into the
story.
abyss and deal with this guy.
I need him to go all the way down.
Holy shit! Did I ever
Um,
talk about watching John Wick 3 on here? I
can't
did that
remember
a
if
few
you
weeks
did.
ago. I don't remember if I
No,
actually
I don't
talked
think you
about it.
did.
Shit. John Wick 3 was more John Wick. For better or for worse, because
Yeah.
maybe I watched it too close to 2, but I don't mind taking a break before John Wick 4.
Yeah.
But it was quite good.
Yeah, my quick take on it, I think I explained it before, is just like I think they're gonna end up going the Fast and the Furious
Yeah.
route, and I don't like that.
Yeah.
But
Yes,
that
we did
remains
talk
to
about
be
this. We
seen.
did talk about this. I'm sorry, because I talked about the CGI and the motorcycle bit and all that shit.
Yeah. Well, so I think you and I talked about it. I don't think we talked about it on the podcast. Or
No,
maybe
it's
we
just I
did.
stank
I
watch
I
all these
thought we
movies.
might. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But yeah, John Wick. Yeah. Anyway, we're talking about anime mostly because that's what we
yeah.
watch.
I'm not gonna talk about it chapter 2.
Why?
Mediocre at fucking best.
That's dude. I've heard a lot of not as good. as the
It
first.
it really wasn't. It really wasn't. There's a lot of things that like felt very copy and paste within the movie,
Yikes.
and some audio splicing, due to actual actors like having their balls drop, you know. Uh, like it didn't work. It really didn't work out as well as the first one.
Damn.
Um, and like there were some very awkward scenes. Um, Especially with some of the characters, like in some of these more serious scenes, they decided to like throw in an awkward joke that like, what the fuck was this? Like this has nothing to do with anything. Like what? And it was dumb. I would rather talk about Vinland Saga
Yes, please.
because
Can you
child
mention?
murder is pretty great.
Oh, jeez.
Everybody knows
So what is this on again?
this is on Amazon.
Amazon Prime.
And so here's the thing. I started watching Made in Abyss actually because I was watching Vinland Saga, and I also came across Made in Abyss because it was like, oh, if you like child murder and like childhood like
Speaking of
Trauma.
PTSD,
child
you
murder,
might like Made in Abyss.
you want to be
So
you
I'm
want to be
like, no
traumatized?
shit,
Here you go.
yeah.
Listeners,
So it's
nothing
like
ever goes wrong on the show. Don't worry, it's just a fun adventure.
nothing ever goes wrong in Vinland Saga. It's about this sweet boy that goes off an adventure with his daddy, and everything's just great.
God damn.
There's no murder.
His dad totally doesn't die.
His dad totally doesn't die,
Why are you saying this?
and he lives a happy life. He becomes a true Viking warrior, a true Viking hero, and makes his daddy
And that's
proud.
and that's all just episode 1.
But no, like for real, no, well, all right, so it's running into a weird thing with me. I still like the show and I want to know where it's going, but man, it seems like they're making the main character just kind of
Unlikable.
take a back seat to everything.
Okay. So it's more just like
Almost.
stuff happening around him instead of him actually influencing the things.
Yeah, stuff is happening around him. Like he has one goal in mind, and he like will stop at nothing to do it, and he's traveling with these guys to like make that goal, like achieve this goal. But it's like he's just kind of there and he does things,
Hmm.
but nothing that influences the actual story. But I feel like we're about to get there very soon. Like I would say like the first like four, like was it the first 6 episodes or so, uh it's like, okay, he's doing stuff and like this is the story. But like now we're on episode 12, and these last like everything is happening, right? Like stuff is moving, the world is moving, and like I think that's interesting. But it's like I thought this show was focused around this kid when it feels like it's not.
Dude,
Like
it's
imagine,
not about this kid, it's about the Vinland Saga.
well, that's what I think. I was like, oh, well, maybe like they're just like covering like the Vinland Saga or whatever. Um, but like since people like to compare it to Berserk a lot, which I would agree and disagree with. Imagine if in the Golden Age arc that like the first part like it focused on Guts, and then when Guts joins like the mercenary company, it just
Yeah.
starts like focusing on um what's his face, um
What, like Griffith?
yeah, it starts like focusing on Griffith and like and Casca,
Yeah.
and like Guts is there like just doing stuff.
Oh, is that where
It's
they've
like
reached in Vinland Saga?
that's where they are in Vinland Saga, right? Like imagine like if that happened in Berserk, that's where they're at in Vinland Saga.
Okay.
But I still think it's pretty good. The animation's great. The fight scenes are great. The characters are pretty cool. Um, yeah, it's just interesting because they touch on like these. Actually, it kind of reminds me of like how kind of grounded it is, to how things are. Kind of like in The Witcher, because I'm reading the Witcher books. I'm back to reading the Witcher books right now.
Woohoo!
Yeah, how it's like like these Nordic guys, like they capture a priest, right? And they're like, "Yo, what's the deal with this Jesus guy?" Because they don't know what Jesus is, And then he's like, well, Jesus, like, he's all loving and like I look for love, and they're like, what is this love you speak of? Like they're not like retarded, but it's just like, they've never heard of
Yeah.
concepts like that before, and I'm like, oh, these are topics that never get covered in like shows.
Mm-hmm.
So I think stuff like that's interesting, and like that's the kind of grounded stuff I look for in shows. But yeah, that's what I'm watching or have been watching.
Sick.
Want to go to Gams, that thing that I'm not really playing right now?
Yeah, let's pop into games real quick so that we can get the fuck out of here. And oh my god, it's almost 10:30.
Yeah, we're going long.
We're going real long. I guess I hadn't started if we hadn't talked about it, but I played all of Metro Exodus on Game Pass. That's basically what was worth $2 immediately. That is the definition of a game I will play once, enjoy moderately, and then never touch again. It has its ups and downs. This game kind of is really interesting in that it's kind of like a survivalish shooter. It does still have that Metro feel of like you are scrounging for supplies a lot. You gotta scrounge every dead body because you need the supplies all the time, which you really do. Even on my difficulty, and Aiden's playing on fucking highest difficulty with no HUD, which is fucking insane.
I think he's playing it in Russian too.
I thought he was doing Russian subtitle or like English subtitles was the only thing.
Yeah, English subtitles, yeah.
But still, that's really cool.
The way the game is meant to be played.
Oh my God. I will say though, the game does lose some stuff. Like, there's a lot more emphasis on running narrative and like caring about a squad that you bring with you. And they kind of all imply that you've been friends forever, but you never really hung out with these guys for more than a second in the other Metro games. But it's still an effective thing for jumping from region to region. Having a train as a base, I mean, for me who loves trains, it's really fun to have like a steam engine as your home base. But it's very clear what the influences for each different section of this world are. Like, you go from basically no Cthulhu mode, what's the town called? The famous town for Cthulhu's mythos.
Innsmouth?
Innsmouth,
Dunwich or Innsmouth.
It's like going to Innsmouth, but there's no Cthulhu, but it's the same kind of cultiness. Outsiders suck. Literally, they're anti-electricity. And then you go from there to Mad Max, and then you go to Lord of the Flies, except you don't have... in between, you have also a brief run-in with cannibals and underground cannibals. So it's
doesn't like cannibals.
But it's very segmented like that. There's no real overlap. It's just our train traveled to a desert, and there is Mad Max. Our train traveled to a valley. There is Lord of the Flies shit going on in this valley. Like it was a sleepaway camp for kids, and then the war happened, and then it was just kids growing up with a teacher, and that was it. So yeah, but the gameplay's still pretty fun. There's definitely some jankiness in that, like, a lot of the objectives aren't really clear. Like, people either have to tell you directly, here's an objective, or you just kind of stumble on stuff. Like in the Mad Max area, they have slaves, and you can kind of just get on a ship and free a bunch of slaves, and it kind of helps your good guy meter. That is how the game, again, tracks the good or bad ending.
A Paragon Renegade meter.
Well, so it's not even a visible meter, but there are good and bad endings, and just like with Last Light, you don't get to determine if you get the good or bad ending. You just have the ending happen to you based on what you've done. For the first time ever, though, I got the canon ending to a Metro game, because when I played Metro 2033, I nuked the Dark Ones, which was the canon ending. Sorry, I should say... The canon ending I did, but it's the bad ending. Then at the end of Last Light, I got the bad ending again, which is not the canon where Artyom dies. And in this one, I actually got the canon ending, which is the good ending where Artyom lives. But there's a lot of bullshit. Like, literally in the last area, you go to the most radiation place on Earth. The radiation is off the scales, but also conveniently, there's a child there who has anti-radiation medicine that you've never seen before. That you just inject, and the radiation, I guess, isn't a problem. But overall, outside of the story, like the moment-to-moment gameplay was pretty fun, and like I said, it's a perfect Game Pass game where I am probably never going to play it again. But it was still a good time. And I'll just go over the other one. In my itch to find a game, because like Tyler, I've been actually looking for a game to sink my teeth into, and I finally decided to pull the trigger on a new Yakuza game. Yakuza Kiwami on Steam, the remake of 1 using the Yakuza 0 engine. And when they say engine, they mean they basically took all the assets and story of 1 and put them in Yakuza 0. It's actually amazing. If you play Yakuza 0 and then play Kiwami, it genuinely feels like
The same game.
it's like an entire new game sequel, like baked in. It's incredible. Like, they even added content to Kiwami into the remake of 1 that references 0. Like, remember I talked about like the pocket car racing I did?
Yeah.
They added the event that, like, they added that as a side event to this, and Kiryu goes, "Oh my god, I remember doing that 20 years ago when 0 takes place," and one of the characters you met is still there. Like,
Dang.
and that's all added for 0, but it's so fun to run around again and like start over as Kiryu, and some of the systems are definitely different, but like Majima shows up everywhere instead of the shakedowns, and you gain experience by fighting him all over the place, so you still want to fight the roaming tough guy. Like, the story feels like a continuation because I'm like, oh my fucking god, Nishiki betrayed me, and spoiler alert, at the very beginning of the game. Like, he was my brother through the whole of Yakuza 0, so it feels like this awesome blend of, this was the first game, Yakuza 0 was never planned when it was done, but it feels like they really did a great job continuing it, and I'm only a few hours in, but I'm absolutely loving it. If you play Yakuza 0 and want more, play Kiwami. It's awesome. Other than that, So, what games do you guys? Who added this? Oh God.
So I didn't get to play. My brother was home for the holidays, and he had just downloaded this game, so I got a chance to watch him play Untitled Goose Game. And for what it is, this game is fucking hilarious. I didn't think a game about just being a goose would be interesting, but it's just fun to piss off NPCs. Like, my brother and I we were trying to sell this game to my parents because they're like, why the hell would you ever want to be a goose? And I'm like, look, just try it. So I went upstairs and I was going through this course, and I come downstairs and I hear my mom laughing, and she's just watching my brother honk at some NPC and scaring the shit out of this kid. And then later, I came home from work the next day, and my dad is sitting down playing, and he's just harassing some farmer. Like,
Oh my
this game
god.
is like both my parents who were like, "This is stupid," are both like, "That was really funny." Like, it's a legitimately interesting game. Like, I'm probably gonna throw it on the 15 to play it. Um, it's a short game, so it's probably the price is pretty justified. But it's interesting. It's all good fun. It's basically just a puzzle game with some absurdist concept, like you're a goose. Plus, the memes are fire.
The memes are fire.
I guess this is
Duncan
just
did
the
a
next
video
big
on it.
YouTube game.
Yeah.
Sort
It
of.
seems like.
Apparently, it's been in development for forever. Like, I have this one buddy I know who just he purely posts about game development, and he's like, I completely forgot about this thing. It's been so long since anyone talked about it. And he was posting shit like 2 weeks before it came out, so I've known about it, but it just recently blew up.
I guess we have been waiting for the next big game that just explodes for a month and then is gone.
Yeah, and the KFC dating sim is not it. It's just way too commercial.
Yeah.
What do you mean? But it's got overwhelmingly positive reviews on
my God.
Steam.
Well, plus, Donkey did a video on Goose Game that
Yeah,
did
I
very
said
well.
that.
So
I genuinely wonder how much pull he has in the community.
he seems pretty huge.
I mean, he still pulls millions of views.
Speaking of which, apparently Donkey got married.
Oh
She also
yeah,
posted that
that
video.
happened.
Everybody's getting married.
Yeah, seriously, we'll talk about that in a minute. So, Goose Game, yeah, okay. Tyler, you want to talk about the game you have been playing?
Yeah, I've been playing Gears 5, and after some deep reflection with my buddy who I played this game with, this game is shit.
Damn.
Game is
fuck
trash.
you, Friedman. There's the thing you just sent me, by the way, because that's a joke only I would get.
Yeah, I was gonna put in the group chat, but I'm like, no one else will get this.
But why is it shit, Tyler? You were saying it was great when you first installed it.
Right. So that's before
you were like, Tim, get it, play as the robot.
Well, yeah, because I mean, don't get me wrong, we were having a lot of fun playing the game. Like, the game itself was fun. The shooting was fun. The environments were fun. For a quote-unquote generic third-person shooter that you go from point A to point B killing shit, it had you doing some interesting stuff, right? Including like some stuff that I'm sure that they got inspiration from Uncharted for, where it's like, oh, these small sections of the game where you go into like an open area and you just do stuff, right? Until you do the actual main objective,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of cool. It kind of mixes things up a lot. It like throws out and like takes some chances with some interesting concepts. All fine and dandy. However, the game is fucking broken. It's so broken.
How
Um,
so?
is so there's a bug, and I don't know what it is, but I think between another group of friends that I was playing with, if you join a co-op game, there's a chance that your audio won't work for the game.
What?
Damn,
Certain
that
sound effects
sucks.
will work, but like shooting voices and like a bunch of other sound effects just won't work for you. Menu will work, but the game won't though, and it's very strange. And the only way we've seen to fix it is if someone else hosts a game and like they join you instead. And it only works like sometimes, not all the time. And like rebooting the game doesn't work. Uh, and restarting the game doesn't work. There was like we did stuff with like an INI file, like it doesn't work. And and like for I guess whatever, I was playing with my buddy who's the Microsoft tester, and we all and like I'm from IT and like we all do all this other shit. We still couldn't figure out what the deal was or how we could even circumvent this. It's just a bug and like they know about it. Um, Aiden and I also found a bug in multiple areas where, or it's not a bug. What I forget. I'm bad. I should know the terminology, but like there are some places on the map, right? Like some like battle parts of the map where if you're running, like to get into cover is the same thing as running or whatever.
Oh, that.
uh
Yeah.
Someone must have left collision somewhere, like someone must have left a chest high wall somewhere and they didn't remove the collision on it, so
Oh
you'll be
no,
running over like an open space or what's supposed to be open and you just fall into cover, if that makes any sense.
that sounds
That
stupid.
is
Like you'll be
crazy
running,
lame.
there's nothing there, but then your character goes into cover.
Ugh.
And it's like, okay, there'd be time, and like some of the checkpoints were really bad. Like you'll go through this whole like 5-10 minute fight sequence that has like at least 3 different sections to it, and then you die. You have to go through a whole scene over again. Like it's stuff that like the earlier games like didn't do, but for some reason got wrong in this game. Like I don't know, it was stuff like that was a mess, and the story was just shit.
Can I
I
also
could go
just
on
say,
about the story,
I
but
hope this isn't like a thing with Microsoft Store games. Although, uh, I had a thing with Metro Exodus where every single time I tried to launch the game, it would crash after a few seconds and have to launch in safe mode. I do
oh
not know
damn.
why, but
I think that was only with Metro so far. I
that
didn't
was
have
only
that
with Metro, and
issue.
Aiden did not have that issue with Metro. But that was a
Surprisingly, because
fucked issue.
2060 gives them problems. Who was it? Oh yeah, the game yells at me. Gears 5 yells at me for having a 1080 Ti.
Really?
Yeah, when the game opens, it yells at me saying, "Did you know that the 1080 Ti driver has compatibility errors?" Blah blah. I have no idea how to turn it off. It
Ugh.
literally yells at me every time. It's a Windows prompt, and I
Damn.
have to yes out of it every time.
I think the word for that is anti-fortunate.
Yeah, like there's just a bunch of stuff that's just like it's weird, right? It's weird and like it just comes down to it not being optimized and it's fucked up because I don't remember Gears 4 having this issue at all.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with its story. The story was so bad. But that's all I want to say. I could literally go on forever about it.
Well, instead, we're just gonna wrap up
Yeah.
super quick. What do you guys have coming up in the next week or two? Because actually, no, we should be doing this next week. What do you guys have coming up, real quick?
I mean, I have no idea. Works very interesting because I'm trying to catch up rapidly to what this dev team is doing. In my free time, honestly, right now, Chihaya Fudu is my top priority. I must catch up before season 3 starts. That's
Or Val will be
non-negotiable. I will be mad at
I know,
myself
I'm
too.
kidding.
I started watching Chicago Food when I went to London in like April, so I've been like dragging my feet on it. So I gotta watch that now. But other than that, I have no clue what's going on.
Tyler?
I'm working a lot. Picked up
Keep
some
it to your
extra
face.
shifts
Oh, of course.
because I'm bad. Damn, that's like it. I got nothing. I guess I'll try to see Joker. I don't like seeing movies opening weekend, but I think a couple of
Yeah,
friends are trying to drag me. So
yeah, I'm avoiding it weekend. I'm trying to not get shot. Terrible
sick.
joke. I shouldn't have said that.
I'm the opposite. No, I'm just
Oh
Oh
kidding.
my
god. All
No,
I'm doing. No, keep. Oh, you got more?
Oh no, that was it. I was just saying. I was just commenting that I don't like going to movies opening
Oh yeah,
weekend
that's
because
fair.
of crowds. Like in
It
general,
gets annoying. Yeah.
it gets super annoying. But yeah, I really got nothing going on. That's pretty much it. What are you
I
doing, Ted?
am jetting off to Florida, like I said way earlier. My brother's getting married this Saturday, and I'm flying down to Florida on super duper early Thursday to be best man at his wedding. So that's very exciting.
Nice.
Oh, Florida.
And then thankfully, I'm gonna be down there for a few days, and then back up here Sunday, take Monday off, and then back to normal Tuesday. That means no live stream this weekend, but I did live stream last weekend, and it seemed to go really well. I'm actually probably going to try to put together a fake tournament bracket for the mod that I've been playing. We tested that out, and it actually seemed really fun. But yeah, I'm going to post on like Facebook, Twitter, and in the Timpedia Discord that I use for the live streams a link to a doc where you can put your name down or something. I'll figure it out. And I'm going to make teams of 2 people, so if you have a team, just submit your name under that. But yeah, there's going to be like a little tournament not this Saturday, but the next Saturday. We're going to try to live stream that, and I'll be playing in it, and we'll see if we can actually get a little tournament going. That'd be fun. But other than that, I think we're finally done. My God, this is almost 2.5 hours.
Jesus.
This was a long one. We had a lot of shit to catch up on, though, so. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching through this whole thing. My name is Timpedia.
I'm Friedman.
And I'm just Tyler.
And we will hopefully catch you guys next week. Thanks for listening.